it across the field. Trevor Jones is picked up by Chandler Jones. He breaks away to the 30. He runs to the 20. He runs to the 10. He runs to the end zone. Unreal. Touchdown.
Come on.
Raiders.
Good night. This might be one of the dumbest teams I've ever seen.
And a victory for Las Vegas.
Oh, how soon we forget or want to forget that moment in Las Vegas a few years ago, which is still one of the dumbest moments I've ever seen as a sports fan. James Scaramuzzino, you happened to Google that today. I had never heard this term before to describe the Jacoby Myers final play in Las Vegas a few years ago. What was it described as?
When I did the quick Google search to find which date it occurred on, it was described as the lunatic lateral.
I think that works. How did we have it listed in our system here at the Sports Hub? How did they list that according to our back end system?
Yeah, whoever put in the original highlight labeled it. I'm looking at it right now. The single dumbest play in football history is what it's labeled as.
It might be. It might be. And that, dare I say, is Jacoby Myers' legacy in a Patriots uniform. Will he have a chance to redeem himself? He just might. And that's what we'll get into tonight, along with a whole bunch of stuff. Hi, how you doing? It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray. We've got room for you on the phone lines at 617-779-0985. Later on in the program, Evan Lazar, Patriots.com, is going to join us to break down the last few days of practice, where the Patriots are at, heading into Cutdown Day, which is tomorrow. The Bobs are coming in. They're ready to go. We all want to wish them good luck with their layoffs. I hope their firings go great. That comes your way tomorrow. Evan Lazar will break all of that down for us about an hour from now. 2 hours from now, everybody's favorite here in town, from Nashville himself, Mike Vrabel's best friend, Jared Stillman, from Mad Dog Radio, is going to join the program at 9 o'clock. I know he has some thoughts on Mike Vrabel and the Rats. He wants to break that down for us. So Jared Stillman, Hurricane Stillman, coming our way at 9 o'clock tonight. And again, anything you want up until then. We're here until 11 o'clock. And phone lines open at 617-779-0985. We will get to you early and often tonight. Skaz has some volunteer help back there tonight. Matt Stenberg. We'll see if we'll get him to answer a phone call here or there, do his thing, put his ass to work. Tonight's opening take, as always, brought to you by Super Service Today. I want Jacoby Myers. I do. I think you want Jacoby Myers. I know Patriots fans always want a wide receiver because we do this every single time there's any rumor, any report whatsoever that a wide receiver wants out of town. So I have to imagine that most Patriots fans want Jacoby Myers back. I just don't know if we're necessarily paying enough attention to what trading for Jacoby Myers might mean. And granted, this has only been on the table for the last few hours because it does feel like he's available. And if you missed this, and you may have, it was just a couple of hours ago, Ian Rappaport with this tweet earlier on today. Raiders wide receiver Jacoby Myers recently met with the team brass and requested to be traded. According to me and Tom Pelissero, the team, citing his value, said they had no plans to do so. Myers and the team attempted to negotiate a new contract, but they could not come to terms. So again, that from Ian Rappaport a little while ago. I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit when the Raiders say they don't want to trade Jacoby Myers. Why? Because it turns out the Raiders are signing Amari Cooper instantly. Right after you get this report, they go out and sign washed-up bum Amari Cooper. For what reason? Reason being, they're probably about to trade a wide receiver. I think this is happening. You know, unlike the Terry McLaurin situation, which finally ended today, so we can stop that silly discussion, McLaurin was never going anywhere. There was no way Washington was ever going to let him walk out the door. There was no way they were going to trade him. They were just going to do this dance, and once you get to this point, you eventually pay the player, and this is the way it generally works around the NFL. There was no circumstance where Washington was going to end up trading Terry McLaurin. This is different. This is a real trade request. This is a real thing that's going to happen. And simply put, it's because of the timing. The timing on this. Have you heard anything about Jacoby Myers up until today? No. Because it has not been a dog and pony show to get him paid more. It's all been done behind the scenes. Now that it looks like it's not going to get done, That's when they go public with it. And the Raiders say, we're not trading him, even though they probably will trade him because they know they're not going to pay the guy. They have made that determination. The key part of this report right here is Myers has been meeting with the team brass. They've been talking about a new contract. He's requested to be traded. He has 1 year left on the deal. Now we're actually on the verge of the start of the season. We're not doing this dog and pony show around training camp and skipping practices and this and that. The guy's not going to report. He wants a new deal. When that generally happens, 95% of the time, the team and the player eventually strike a deal. The player knows he doesn't have to report to camp, or he's willing to do that because the fines are going to get waived. And it's just this whole scene. And you do this whole thing, and you do the runaround, and eventually, like what happened to Terry McLaurin, the player is going to get traded. Or the player is going to sign, I should say. In this case, when you don't hear about it until the 11th hour, which this is, I think the player is getting traded. I think he's available. I think Jakobi Meyers is going to get traded in the coming days here. And this means we're about to do it all over again with another wide receiver. Except this time, I think it's legit. And this time, I think it's a fit. This one makes a lot of sense. Too much sense. It's almost too good to be true. Myers is as consistent as you get in the NFL. And for a young quarterback trying to find a consistent guy to throw to, a guy who has been in this system before, the Josh McDaniels system, and there's no real reporting suggesting that there were any issues between Myers and McDaniels in Las Vegas. He was here with McDaniels as an offensive coordinator. He was there with McDaniels as a head coach. It seems like Jakobi Meyers might have been one of the few people in Las Vegas who didn't hate Josh McDaniels by the end of it. So it makes all kinds of sense, except for one person, except for one factor, which is Stephon Diggs. And the more you look at it, the more you realize it's not going to be about adding Jakobi Meyers to a Stephon Diggs, Pop Douglas offense. It's going to be adding Jakobi Meyers and what that means for Diggs most likely moving forward. To me, if you want to bring in Jakobi Meyers, it says you don't feel good about Stephon Diggs. And what I mean by that, you might say bring both of them in. You can never have enough good players. The Patriots need more good players, and you are totally right about that. The Patriots need more talent at the wide receiver position. You are not wrong. I agree. But you got to look a little bit deeper to see how it all works out and to see how it would play out and to see who would play where and to figure out if Stephon Diggs could accept it. You want to do some football nerd stuff? We can do some football nerd stuff. Steph Diggs and Jakobi Meyers play the same position. And I'm not just talking about wide receiver. Steph Diggs is a Z slot. Jakobi Meyers is a Z slot. And if you think this is about replacing Pop Douglas, you're wrong. He's a pure slot guy. Diggs and Meyers play the same position. Same position. So you run into a question about whether you're putting them on the field at the same time. Now, I personally would, because I'd move Diggs to the X, move him to the other side of the field, have him play that role. He should be a number one quality receiver. He should be able to play the X. He should be able to play the Z. He should be able to play the slot. He's a good enough guy to play anywhere. Here's the problem. X receivers in the Josh McDaniels offense don't get as many looks as the Z slot guys. They don't. And can Steph Diggs handle it? Can he handle it from a positional standpoint and a talent standpoint? Yeah, I think he can. I would hope so. You're paying him to be able to do it. You're paying him to be able to put him anywhere on the field. I don't know if he's going to be willing to. Because if you put him at the X, he's getting fewer targets. And Stephon Diggs needs to get his targets. You need to keep him happy. Drake May was asked about that again today. We'll play it for you coming up, but you got to keep this guy happy. They know it. I think we all understand it. This is the diva wide receiver thing that you have to deal with. I'm telling you, if you bring Jakobi Meyers in, Diggs is not going to be happy. Signing Meyers either means that Diggs is not on the field as much, or he's on the field but he's playing out of position sometimes, which means he's not getting as many targets. I don't know if he can handle that. I'm not convinced he can handle that. Now, I'm on board with the idea of bringing Meyers in because I think you need more talent, and that's what it comes down to. The Patriots need more talent. I will always take the talent. I will welcome the issues that come with having talent for a team that has lacked talent at the wide receiver position for a long time. They don't have enough of it, and Myers is a perfect fit in the sense that he's as reliable as they come. He's the type of guy a young quarterback's going to want to throw to. He fits in the offense. He knows the offense. He's a smart player. He's reliable outside of what you saw in the lunatic lateral in Las Vegas a few years ago. We all know that that was not who Jacoby Myers is. It's not who he's been throughout the majority of his career. But if you are bringing him in, you are going to welcome and invite trouble with Stephon Diggs. I'm telling you that right now. So what it comes down to is this. If you feel good about Diggs, if you do, you probably actually want to steer clear of Myers. If you think Stephon Diggs is going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, is going to be a legit bona fide number one guy, you're probably not inviting the trouble that trading for Jacoby Myers brings to Stephon Diggs and brings to that room. But if you have questions about Diggs, like I do, I'm trading for Myers and I'm figuring it out. And if Diggs can't handle it, too bad, sayonara. Because I don't believe in him as much as a lot of Patriots fans do. He's coming off an injury. There are questions about him. Seemingly, there are always questions kind of hanging over Stephon Diggs. And when he's been on the field, he's been a good player. He's been a great player. Now, that was before the injury, so maybe you do still get some of that. But I'm telling you, it's not a guarantee. And there might be problems if you bring in Myers or if you don't bring in Myers. So I'll bring in Myers as a security blanket. I'll bring in Myers as something else that can potentially help this offense. And I will run the risk of pissing off Stephon Diggs. Because make no mistake about it, you bring in Myers, that's going to piss off Stephon Diggs, and it's going to be a problem for him and where he fits in the offense. I'll take it. I'll welcome those problems because I don't trust that Diggs is going to be able to give you what you want him to give you. But let's just acknowledge that it's an issue. So very simply put, do you want Jacoby Myers? 617-779-0985, even if that creates problems in that room. I still say yes. What do you say? We'll get to your thoughts coming up. It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
How important is it to you to get Stephon involved, even on the practice field, and just feeding him targets and developing whatever you guys can develop together?
Shoot, he's a phenomenal player. What he can do, and how much ball he's played, and how many plays he's make. Just try to give him the football, and whether it's extra work with him or extra work out of practice from the film room, but trying to be on the same page. And I think once he's got one-on-one matchups, or he feels zone, knows coverage really well. So I think he can do a lot of things well. So it's good for us to use him as much as he's able to handle. And I think it's excited to get out there and throw him a couple footballs and then building the chemistry in practice. I think we've got kind of built it here lately, and I think just kind of carry that into the season.
Is there any pressure on you? He's a guy who's obviously accomplished a lot in his career.
Yeah.
Is there any pressure on you as a young quarterback to make sure he gets the ball, make sure he's feeling good about where he's at?
I wouldn't say pressure. I think he knows, he knows the plays, and I always try to tell the guys, hey, if you've seen something, hey, give me something on the sideline or something like that. But I'm going to try to throw the guys that open. If he's open a lot, then he'll get the ball a lot.
He says there's no pressure to get him the ball. There's pressure to get him the ball, because if you don't, he's going to tell you he's not getting you the ball, that you're not getting him the ball. He's done that before. He will do it again. This is one of the things when you have a diva receiver, a throw me the ball receiver, you need to throw them the ball to keep them happy and to keep them on the same page and to keep them rowing in the same direction. And bringing in Jacoby Myers will affect that. I'm going to tell you that. So you just need to keep that in mind if you want to bring in Jacoby Myers, which I do. That's my opening take tonight, brought to you by Super Service Today, Massachusetts' #1 provider for residential commercial plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning. Day or night, always done right. Visit superservicetoday.com. Do you want Jacoby Myers? Simple as that. 617-779-0985. Knowing it will probably create some issues in that room. How about Sean in Auburn? Hey, Sean.
Hey, how's it going, man?
What's up?
Hey, so absolutely we need to bring Myers in. The team needs talent, and if Diggs has an issue with that, then he doesn't want to win games.
Simple as that. Yeah, I think Diggs wants to win. I also think he wants the ball thrown in his direction, because I think he thinks that helps the team win. And the Patriots are going to need to throw him the ball. If the Patriots offense is going to maximize their capability this year, it's going to be because Stephon Diggs is a 1,000-yard receiver, not a 400-yard receiver. And he could be, based on his availability. You don't know if he's going to be the same player anymore. I mean, reports were good at the beginning of camp. It feels like things have kind of tailed off since that point. Questions about whether he's taken his foot off the gas a little bit. Questions in general about Stephon Diggs. That's what it exists. That's what exists with that player. I would personally bring Myers in, knowing that means Diggs will either not see the field as much or play out of position. And again, the X in the Patriots offense, which is where Diggs would probably move to if you bring Myers in, well, that means you're getting fewer targets, because that's the way the Josh McDaniels offense works. I know some people say, well, bring Jacoby Myers in. He's better than Pop Douglas. And he is. But keep in mind that those two don't exactly play the same position. And Douglas is one of the few guys on your offense who actually has some level of speed. Myers, as good as he is not a fast receiver. They need some speed on offense, because it's Pop Douglas and Travion Henderson as far as guys who can run. And that's pretty much it. I mean, Kyle Williams, but again, he's a rookie, and I'm not counting on much from him this year. So, yes, that room needs an upgrade. Myers is in many ways a good fit, because he's reliable. He's proven. He's a true pro. He's the type of guy you want to bring in to have a young quarterback throw the ball to. I'm totally on board with that. He's not totally here to replace Pop Douglas, and I don't think the Patriots want to replace Pop Douglas, because I think they think he's going to have a good and successful year in the Josh McDaniels system. If Douglas does not reach his potential in the Josh McDaniels system, which feels built for him, he probably won't reach it, period. So this is a big answer year on Pop Douglas. I think they believe in him. I don't think they'd want to bring in somebody to replace him. The thing is, Myers would not generally replace him. Myers would actually kind of replace Steph Diggs. And again, that sounds foolish to say, given Well, just bring in another good player. Yeah, I agree. If your best receiver is willing to say, you know what, he can play Z slot and I'll slide over to the X. All right. Well, I'm going to see fewer targets as a result of this because the X in the McDaniels offense is a little bit more of a decoy. It's all built through the slot guy. The guys who play the Z, the guys who play the slot, and a lot of guys in the history of the McDaniels offense have played both. That's what Myers is. That's what Steph Diggs is. Move him to the X? I'm not convinced he's going to like that. How about Tyler and Lowell? Tyler.
Hi, how's it going? I got 2 points on this. One, I think that Myers would be a good ad just because it's a good safety blanket. Like, getting him, you kind of know what to expect, where Diggs, obviously at his best, he's much better than Myers, but we don't know fully what we're getting yet. And then I also think that Diggs' main, issues in his past were with Buffalo at the end when he was the clear-cut number one talent, whereas last year in Houston, when he had Nico Collins there, that was, a clear-cut number one. I feel like he was able to find his spot more and be able to share the role better. So it might be a little bit of a better spot to have someone else there. Whereas if it's just Diggs and then the rest of the Patriots receivers, obviously if he's not getting the ball, he's going to get way more frustrated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would just say if you do that on the verge of the regular season, you say, hey, you were going to play this position. Well, actually, you're either going to be on the field less or we're going to put you out of position sometimes when you're on the field and you're going to see fewer targets as a result of that. I just don't know if he'd be on board with that. Now, maybe he will be. Maybe I'm overreacting to this possibility. Maybe I'm a little bit concerned by it. Maybe I'm too concerned by it. I don't rule it out. I would just say, based on Diggs' history, he is a guy who demands the ball, so you have to be willing to feed him the ball to get the most out of him. The thing about bringing in Myers is, in some ways, it lowers Diggs' ceiling. Now, I would still do it. I would, because I think you need more talent in that room. But Stephon Diggs has a way higher ceiling than Jacoby Myers. He does. Now, you bring in Diggs, you slide him over to the X. He's not going to see as many targets. He's not going to have as much of an impact on your offense. So you are, in some ways, limiting what Diggs can potentially give you. I would do it because I think you need more talent, and I'll take the more players, the better, and even if somebody plays out of position, I'm okay with that. I just don't know if Stephon Diggs is going to be okay with that. So your thoughts? You willing to bring in Jacoby Myers, even though it might create some level of issue? 617-779-0985. I also want to take a look. I say the Patriots offense needs more talent, and I stand by that, which means it's probably a good time to take a look at where the offense ranks. Little letter grade for the Patriots offense and their position grouping ahead of cut-down day tomorrow with the firings on the way. Where do they stand? Have they improved at all in the last year or two, when obviously they have been one of the worst offenses in the league, not only with output, but in regards to talent on paper? 617-779-0985. We'll do all of that. Got a quick update. It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray tonight here on the Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox now trailing the Orioles 2-1. Dick Fitz taking over in this game as the bulk guy. He has given up 2 runs in 2 innings pitched so far. Brennan Bernardino opening this game with a scoreless first for the Sox. Again, Sox trailing Baltimore 2-1.
I really got to experience it, one time last year with the guys around the locker room. Obviously, you hear about it, and so many guys out here that work their butts off that are kind of fighting and crawling to make the team, and it's news that obviously they're unfortunate for them and unfortunate for us who build a relationship with them. And I remember the rookies. I felt like all those guys were with me in training camp, and coming out of rookie minicamp. The next thing you know, like that, we got down to 10 or 12 rookies in the locker room from 30. So it was tough for me to you realize that's the nature of the business, and then from there just to pump those guys up. If you never know, may see him again. You see Hasty back out here and guys like that. So you never know. The relationship's never over, and for those guys, just another step in the journey, and try to stay in touch with them.
A million times over the next week and a half. But hey, 53 tomorrow, baby. Get excited for it. It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray. Good opportunity on the verge of cutdown day to take a look at the state of the Patriots roster, and most importantly on the offensive side of the ball. On a day where guys are becoming available around the NFL, you got cuts going on. Generally, they're always cut for a reason, but you have trades now potentially coming to fruition. Maybe possibilities. Jacoby Myers. Nobody saw this one coming about a week ago. It feels like Jacoby Myers could move in the coming days here. So it makes you take stock of your roster and try to adjust and try to improve it. That's what good teams like the Eagles do, is I think they made 5 trades in something like 24 hours to try and improve this team or improve their team, to try and add depth, to try and deal from positions of strength, add to positions of weaknesses, because that is what good organizations do. The Patriots have not done that up until this point. We won't get them in trouble for anything they haven't done yet, but it does go to show that you can make some ancillary moves here and there, and you never know which one you might actually hit on. So we will see what comes in the next 21 hours for the Patriots. But this is a good time to take a look, and I'm going to hand out some grades. Hand out some letter grades for the Patriots' position groupings on the offensive side of the ball. And here is what I would say overall. They are fine. They're just fine. And I'll take it. Compared to where they've been, I'll take it, baby. Fine? Hell yeah. Fine's good enough for me. She's just kind of fine. Fine. I'm good. Fine. Offense. Overall grade for the offense. C. Maybe C-. Sports Hub take C-. Regular person take C. Somewhere in there. They're fine. They're just fine. C's get degrees, baby. Most worried about the offensive line, which we'll get to. But at the quarterback position, I will also give the Patriots a C. Obviously, it's the hardest position to project. Drake May is the future of the franchise, we hope. The talent jumps off the screen. He obviously showed something last year that has made many people excited, myself kind of included in that. I am probably harder on Drake May than most. I do have my questions about his ability to grasp the offense. I have my questions about his ability to lead. I have my questions about his ability to, be a field general type, to truly take command of everything, which is why I think Mike Vrabel has worked so much with him and so much exclusively with him this summer, because he recognizes that's an area that May has to improve. I think the turnovers are undeniably a concern with him. And I do look at a situation last year where the Patriots won 4 games and he only played 1 of them. So that is a small knock I do have against Drake May. For a team that was undeniably awful, terrible. You win 4 games. It's obviously a mess. It's hard to hold that against Drake May. I would say if you win 4 games, I would like my rookie phenom, my starting quarterback, the guy that I feel strongly about, I would like the face of my franchise to win more than just 1 of those games. So I do hold that against him. But he has all the talent in the world. All the talent in the world, so I give it a C, right in the middle. It's not an A, it's not an F. I think that's a fair grade for the Patriots quarterback room. And let's be honest, Josh Dobbs blows. He blows. Awful. You see Josh Dobbs in a game, it doesn't matter. Josh Dobbs is an F, but it doesn't matter. If May gets hurt, your season's over. That's it. So the Patriots might have a backup quarterback problem in the sense if they need a backup quarterback for a game or two, May gets a concussion, misses another game, whatever that thing is, they might have an issue there. But in the end, if you're going to judge the quarterback room, it's really all about judging the starter. I'll go C. Skaz, real quick before I move on to my rankings of the other position groups, I do feel as if I've robbed the people of an experience tonight. On a day where Bailey Zappi gets cut, to know that Joe Murray is not in his normal time slot to do Bailey Zappi talk, I'm sorry. Like, I almost feel guilty. Bad Matt, bad McCarthy, bad McCarthy, bad.
Who would you rather have as your backup quarterback, Bailey Zappi or Josh Dobbs?
Bailey Zappi.
7:00 tomorrow night.
Book it.
I mean, I don't want to program Joe's show for him, but I can imagine it'll be touched on.
How could it not be?
He's a Bailey Zappi guy.
He's not a Bailey Zappi. He is the Bailey Zappi guy. Is there anybody else out there? Wait, anybody else still have Zappi fever?
Kansas City out on Zappi fever.
They got the antidote for that.
I think he was in Cleveland for a minute, also out on Zappi fever. And they have 6 quarterbacks, I think.
Something like that. Shadur, Flacco, Gabriel. Yeah. Zappi's not going to cut it in that room. And I guarantee you, though, he was very interested in trying to compete, which I'm not going to hold against Bailey Zappi, but that's the reason Mac Jones didn't want him around. And I would say this, the reason you don't have Joe Milton anymore is because he wanted to clear the runway for Drake May. So not that Bailey Zappi is going to threaten anybody at this point, but there's no way the Patriots bring in Bailey Zappi because that would be perceived by some people like Joe Murray as some type of threat to Drake May. So they're not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Not to mention that Zappi was not here when McDaniels was here, so that doesn't even feel like a fit. Doesn't feel like a fit whatsoever. Quarterbacks, C for the Patriots. Running backs, B+. I really like that room. I don't want to overrate Henderson, but how can you not be fired up about him? I think that guy has the chance to be a stud. He's been the most exciting rookie they've had in a long time, at least in training camp. Stud. I hope, at least. I am very excited, very high on Travion Henderson, as I think most Patriots fans are. But I'm just high on that room in general. Gibson's a real guy. I thought Gibson was better than Ramondre Stevenson last year, and I am hoping for a bounce back from Stevenson. You're not going to run him into the ground. You're not going to count too much on him. You have Henderson. You have Gibson. I hope that means better things for Ramondre Stevenson, who was a good player up until last year. I love that room. I think that room has a chance to be one of the better running back rooms in the league. I am bullish on that group. Not necessarily so much about the wide receivers, but I don't think it's a disaster. I'm going to give them a C-. They are not awful, and that's a compliment given to where they've been in recent years. But I'll give them a C-. It's why I definitely would consider bringing in Jacoby Myers, just because I don't think Stephon Diggs is going to elevate them the way that I think a lot of Patriots fans think Diggs is going to elevate that room. I believe in Pop Douglas. I like that. Put it this way. I like the upside of Pop Douglas, especially in this offense. I don't necessarily know if I believe in him because he's never really done it at the NFL level. He's shown some flashes, but he's a small guy, and I wonder if he's the type of guy you can wear down a little bit. But in a McDaniels offense, if Douglas isn't going to do it now, he's never going to do it. So this is a true answer year on Douglas. I like Mac Hollins for what he is. It feels like he's developed a nice little rapport with Drake May. Williams, I guess, is getting open, but he's a rookie. I don't know what to make of him. Chisholm has had a nice camp. I don't know if he's going to have a huge impact. He should be on the team, but I'm not counting on a huge impact from him. It's not the worst room I've ever seen. It's certainly not the best. It's not 2007 with Moss and Stallworth and Welker and Jab Gaffney, and it's not that. It's not that, but I've seen worse, especially here in recent years. I'll give them a C-. Tight ends, another room I feel good about. That's a B+. B+. Henry and Hooper are a legit tandem. Henry is a top 10 tight end in the league. Like, that's pretty good. That's above average. It feels like Drake May really developed a good rapport with Henry last year. So I feel good about that group. I do. And in the end, the biggest problem is the offensive line, which I will give a D to. That line blows. Biggest concern on the team. There's no doubt about it. I'd like to give them a D-, but I'll try to be fair. I'll give them a D, and I can't give them an F because they haven't failed at anything yet. And the right side of the line might be fine. I've got questions about whether Moses can stay on the field, but you're paying Onwenu $20 million. He should be okay at right guard. They don't want to move him from right guard. That should be okay. Left side of the line, though, Bradbury, Wilson, Campbell, big questions. Big-time questions. So I'll give them a D to try to be fair. Again, overall grade for the offense, C to C-, which, again, they've done a hell of a lot worse around these parts. They've improved a little bit there. It's not going to be great. It's not going to be the greatest show on turf. It's not going to be the 2007 Patriots, but they should have just enough. If Drake May is the real deal, they should have just enough to be successful. 617-779-0985. I see on the phone lines. We'll get to you. We also had a comment made ahead of Cutdown Day, a question asked ahead of Cutdown Day of one Patriot player that we need to get to. Let's find out who hates their coworkers. We'll do that next.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. This. Solak and Bertrand get you through the midday. Joe Murray gets you right through the night.
I actually spoke with women today.
On the Sports Hub.
Have you ever come across, I don't want this to sound insensitive, but have you ever come across a teammate that you were kind of happy they got cut?
Oh. This guy's good. Oh, man. Whoa. No, I mean, there has been a guy like years ago who was just kind of like a little thrown off, and I guess I don't know if people felt safe around him. So that was like years ago, but not recently. But I have ran into guys who, I don't know, man. Like, I know you play football and that, you can be a little bit thrown off, but he was just completely off the rockers. But that'll be it. That'll be about it. I don't even remember his name. Yeah.
Now, it might be hard to hear the question, but that is from Mark Dondero. Works here at the Sports Hub. He says, I don't know, I don't want to come across as insensitive, but I'm going to ask you, were there any teammates that you hated so much that you were happy when they got cut? Is that
come across, I don't want this to sound insensitive, but have you ever come across a teammate that you were kind of happy they got cut?
Is that insensitive? I don't want to come across as insensitive, but is it insensitive?
I kind of enjoyed the question. I like the Carlton Davis was surprised. That's for sure. It's good content.
Look at this lunatic. Look at this crazy guy. How much Carlton Davis makes? What, $18 million a year?
I think that's right about right.
Is that enough money to be forced to field questions from Mark Dondero every day at your work?
Absolutely. It's more than enough.
It's more than we get, right?
Yeah, of course.
Way more than we get. Good for him. Wow. Good for him for playing along. We've all been in that, let's be honest, all of us here at the station have been in that spot where Dondero says something and you're like, I'm sorry, what? What did you just say? Want to explain yourself there a little bit more, bud?
This guy's good. Oh, man.
I know what that feels like. Like, well, I'm getting a little uncomfortable. I don't know which direction we're trending towards. This might not be good, but I'll try to answer your question as best I can without getting anybody in trouble, without getting any of us canceled. How about that? What a moment today from Patriots practice. So, have you ever hated somebody so much that you were happy when they got fired? I'm trying to think if I've ever hated somebody so much at this station that I was happy well, we won't go there. 617-779-0985. How about Ron in Medford? Hey, Ron.
2 points I wanted to make, Matt. I hope that this, first and foremost, I hope this isn't a year where the offensive line is so bad that we can't really see if if Drake May has made any progress. I hope he's not running for his life the whole year and we still don't really know what this kid is. Secondly, as far as Bailey Zappi goes, I love the fact that he sucked, but he was so cocky. And it was entertaining for me to listen to him. He was, even though he sucked, he was cocky as hell, and I loved him for it.
You know what? We all could use a level of Bailey Zappi confidence.
I love the take, though. He sucked, but he was so cocky, I kind of respected him. It's hard to disagree.
You know what? Sometimes in life, a lack of awareness sometimes helps you, right? It just lets you go in there and be yourself. Would I have gone down to Patriots practice today and asked Carlton Davis if he hated a teammate so much that he was happy that he got cut? Most of us would not do that. Sometimes we need people like that in our life. The Bailey Zappi, Mark Dondero, Bailey Zappi, people like that. Just you walk right in, say, hey, what do you got? What do you got for me today? Huh? Level of confidence. We all could use that level of confidence. How about Josh in Northborough? Josh.
Hi. So I guess I'm the polar opposite of that last caller. I actually do have a Bailey Zappi jersey. I still have the Zappi fever.
Are you serious?
Oh, I'm serious. I'll tweet you a picture of my Bailey Zappi jersey.
At Matt McCarthy 98.5, Josh. That takes a level of bravery. Maybe again, I would actually argue, Skaz, a lack of awareness. Sometimes a lack of awareness it's a great way to go through life. Because you're not going to be fazed by it. You're not going to be bothered by it. Josh in Northborough just outed himself in the year of 2025 as a Bailey Zappi person. You almost have to respect it. Is it an embarrassing look? Yeah, it is. But good for you. That's the theme of this segment right here. Lack of awareness, sometimes really good. What a way to go through life. How about, we're up against it. Hang on the line. We'll take care of you. 617-779-0985. We do have, though, Evan Lazar from Patriots.com coming our way to break it all down. Cut down day tomorrow. The firing is about to commence. Stuff around the NFL today. Jacoby Myers will get into all of that with Evan Lazar in 90 seconds. No commercials here. It's McCarthy in for Joe.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, WBZ FM and HD1.
It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Beasley Media Group Station.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox out to a 4-3 lead now in the fifth on the Orioles thanks to a 3-run home run from Jarren Duran. Dick Fitz, the bulk guy in this game, he's given up 2 runs, taking over for Brennan Bernardino, who opened the game for the Sox. Roman Anthony opened the game for the Sox with a solo home run. He is the youngest player in Red Sox history to hit a leadoff home run. He surpassed a mark set by Bobby Doerr when Bobby Doerr was 21. The NFL, cut down day, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Patriots yesterday waiving Layden Robinson. Moves around the league today. Terry McLaurin signing a 3-year contract extension in Washington. That saga's over. $96 million over 3 years. Trey Hendrickson going to stay in Cincinnati. A $14 million raise for this season. He'll still be a free agent next year. Jacoby Myers wants a trade, according to Ian Rappaport. The Raiders say they don't want to trade him. And then after that report came out, they immediately signed free agent wide receiver Amari Cooper. Kansas City Chiefs cutting Bailey Zappi. And a big cut today in the NFL. The Tampa Bay Bucks releasing 464-pound rookie Desmond Watson. That is a big cut. Headlines are brought to you by Super Service Today, Massachusetts' #1 provider for residential and commercial plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning, day or night. Always done right. Visit superservicetoday.com. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update in 30 minutes.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Line on the verge of cutdown day for an update on all things Patriots and all things around the NFL. From Patriots.com, Evan Lazar joining the program. Evan, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good, Matt. We got Stenberg behind the glass. You got me on the phone. Ithaca takeover tonight.
I know. Skaz is just sitting here being like, I wish I went to Ithaca. Don't you feel badly, Skaz?
It's not the first or last time.
It's good. That's good. Evan Lazar, who is a football nerd at Ithaca and has continued doing so for the Patriots. Nothing makes me happier than that. All right, Evan. First and foremost, this Jacoby Myers thing. Do you envision this as a possibility for the Patriots if he does end up getting moved? Yes or no, would it be a good thing for the Pats?
I'm going to say no, and I know that sounds maybe a little bit surprising just because of where their receiver room has been the last couple of years, but I kind of like the mix of guys that they have in there now, and I'm not necessarily sure that Jacoby Myers is an upgrade over Stephon Diggs or Pop Douglas, which are the two guys I see the most redundancy with. So if you told me that they were going to go out and sign a true down the field X receiver or a Terry McLaurin was going to come here, then obviously I would jump at that. But I do wonder with Myers if there's maybe a little bit too much redundancy with some of the guys they already have here. Really good camp for Mac Hollins, Kayshon Boutte, Pop Douglas. You have Diggs in the mix, Diggs, and then you want Kyle Williams to push for playing time at some point here. So it's not a really top-heavy room, but it is a crowded room. So I just wonder where Myers would fit in.
Where would you rank him in regards to talent amongst the Patriots wide receivers right now?
I would say he's probably right there as a wide receiver 2 with the Pats, maybe a 3. I still would put Diggs ahead of him. I know he's coming off the ACL and he's a little bit older, but I still look at Stephon Diggs as a person that has a ceiling, a receiver that has a ceiling that could be the guy for you, a number 1 in an offense. And I'm not sure Jacoby Myers is going to be that. So, like I said, Diggs, probably going to play a lot of that like flanker Z roll, pop in the slot. Keyshawn Boutte and Mac Hollins outside. It's not a terrible mix. It's probably one of the better receiver rooms that I've seen them have in the last couple of years.
Well, is that really saying anything, to be totally honest, Evan? And I kind of agree with what you're saying, but to say this is one of the best rooms they've had in a long time, I mean, isn't that kind of by default?
Yeah, sure. I guess I more mean just I'd like to see how this room goes, right? Like I'd like to see how this mix goes and how some of these guys fit together. And then maybe next offseason you can start to revisit, all right, we really need that outside the numbers down the field guy, which is kind of what it feels like they need the most of here. Or maybe Diggs is not a long-term thing, and then they have to go in a different direction. Maybe that is a guy like Myers. But it's obviously interesting with his connection to Josh McDaniels. I wonder where exactly they fit him into this picture here.
Is it really a positional thing? Because that was kind of my takeaway at the when this happened earlier on today, and it was my leadoff take in the show tonight, Evan, is yes, I mean, Myers, of course he would be a nice addition to the room because that room, I think we all would agree, would need more talent. He's a guy who brought in 1,000 yards last year. The Patriots haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since Edelman in 2019, I believe, was the last time they had a 1,000-yard receiver. But Myers is a Z slot type receiver. The Patriots already have a couple of those, so he becomes redundant with the two guys that you're counting the most on, which are Stephon Diggs and Pop Douglas. Like, positionally, can it work? Can you move Diggs to the X? Can you do that thing? Can Myers play the X? Like, I think a lot of fans would say, well, that's great. You need three wide receivers. It's Pop Douglas. It's Stephon Diggs. It's Jacoby Myers. That's better than what you have. Am I right in thinking that doesn't make as much sense as perhaps it seems just looking at it from the 10,000-foot view?
Exactly, and that's exactly how I'm looking at it, and I get it. Like, some fans are going to hear this and be like, Jacoby Myers is an upgrade over some of the names that we're throwing out here. But at the same time, just looking at it more specifically, Jacoby Myers, when he was here with the Patriots under Josh McDaniels, was playing the Z receiver role in the offense, which is the same role that Julian Edelman played before Myers did, and then Myers took that over from Julian Edelman. So right now, if we were to project this forward based off of what we've seen in camp, Stephon Diggs is going to play that role this year for the Patriots. So if you bring in a guy like Jacoby Myers, and you're probably going to have to move Diggs to the X, and I don't know at this point of his career if Diggs is truly a backside one-on-one receiver that's going to win on a vertical route tree consistently down the field. So if he turns into what really your role you have envisioned for, like a Keyshawn Boutte, how is Stephon Diggs going to feel about that, right? Like, we already know that he's going to want targets. We already know that he's going to want the football. So if you move him to a position that's not really what's best suited for his skill set to fit Jacoby Myers in here, I just wonder if that then makes Stephon Diggs a little bit unhappy. So I'm just looking at it from that standpoint of positions. And again, if this was Terry McLaurin, if this was a receiver that's a no-brainer, then I'm obviously making the call. I just don't know if Jacoby Myers fits in that category for me.
Evan, are you as happy as me that we can put the Terry McLaurin stuff to rest? Because I don't think that was ever going to happen. How did you feel about that whole saga?
Yeah, I want to put all of these to rest. Like, this is starting to annoy me, honestly, because until somebody of this ilk that requests a trade or has a holdout, until one of these guys gets moved, I'm just not going to believe they're ever going to get traded. I mean, we saw today, Terry McLaurin, Trey Hendrickson, they signed deals. We talked about T. Higgins for 2 freaking years, waiting for him to get moved from Cincinnati. Never did. Last year, Brandon Ayuk, was right in this category as well. I'm sure Dallas will figure something out with Micah Parsons before week 1. This is just how these things go. These are how these negotiation goes. These trade requests mean very little. They're just negotiation ploys. And again, until one of these players that does this and goes this route actually gets moved by their team, I'm just going to chalk all of this up to nothing to see here. I just don't really see why we get ourselves all worked up about these things.
So I totally agree with you because we spend summers talking about this. We spend years talking about this. Am I wrong, though, in thinking that the Myers thing might actually be legit simply based on the timing? This is not a, hey, I'm going into camp, I'm holding out, I'm not showing up to camp, and we're going to do the dog and pony show. This, I mean, unless I've had my head in the sand, which, to be totally honest, Evan, I probably have. I haven't heard anything about Jacoby Myers until today, and it happens on the verge of cutdown day, and then the Raiders say they're not going to trade him, but then immediately go sign Amari Cooper. He's entering the final year of his deal, and I don't know if he's going to get an extension there. Like, this kind of feels a little bit more real than the McLaurin stuff or any of the other stuff that you just talked about. Am I crazy about that?
No, I think you're right, and also, like, obviously the tie to Josh McDaniels is obvious. He went to Vegas to play for Josh McDaniels when he left the Patriots, so there's that obvious connection. And then same with what's going on here with the Patriots, as we're a couple of hours away from cutdown day. It's a new regime. It's a new coaching staff in Vegas. Pete Carroll comes in, Chip Kelly comes in to run their offense, and they have their guys and they have their scheme fits. And the Pats are going through this right now on defense with Kyle Duggar and Anthony Jennings and Jelani Tavai and that whole group. So I wouldn't be surprised if the new regime is saying, he's kind of a fit for the old offense, and we're going to do things a little bit differently here than what Josh McDaniels was running in Vegas. So I don't think that it's a total coincidence at all, because I think the Patriots have a couple guys, like I just mentioned, that are in a similar boat.
Do you think Duggar or Jennings get moved tomorrow by 4:00?
I don't. I think in order to move one of those guys, the Patriots are going to have to eat salary, and it's going to have to be kind of a straight salary dump type of trade. And, my whole take on it, Matt, is just I don't know if they're ready to move on from players like that from a roster building standpoint. It's only been one off season with Mike Vrabel and Ryan Cowden and Elliott Wolf. And I don't know if they have the NFL depth right now to say, we don't need Kyle Duggar or we don't need Anthony Jennings. And if you start to move on from some of these guys that can play in this league and can eat up snaps if necessary, then it gets dangerously thin quickly on this roster. So they might not be in the long-term plan for Mike Vrabel. They might not be part of the vision that he has in mind in terms of the defense and the scheme, but it might be one off-season too early to start shedding NFL players from this roster. So this time next year, I guess I'd be a little bit surprised if Kyle Duggar or Anthony Jennings were Patriots, but I think this might be a next off-season thing more than it is going to be something in the next 24 hours.
You think they might keep both of them? Is that
I
fair?
do, because I just look at their roster depth at really all across the roster, and I just don't feel like they're in a position to just walk away from players that they know can play in this league that are NFL caliber talents. If they were to cut Kyle Duggar or trade Kyle Duggar for peanuts because they want to get out of the salary, then and all of a sudden they have some injuries at safety, and you're starting to talk about putting players on the field that frankly shouldn't be on the field. Or I guess a better way to put it would be like the guys that they've played over the last couple of years when they've had these situations. So Anthony Jennings and Kyle Duggar might not be great fits for what they want to do long term, but as of right now, they don't really have in-house replacements for their skill sets or for their roles. So I just look at it and say, maybe for this year, some of these Belichick holdovers do stick on the roster, but by next year, they can get another draft under their belt, another free agency, and they can start to clear some of those guys out.
Evan Lazar joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline from Patriots.com. No, the Patriots are back on the practice field today. Evan, I think maybe the noteworthy news item from that is the offensive line was Campbell, Wilson, Bradbury, Owenu, and Morgan Moses. It kind of feels like that's going to be the week one starting offensive line. Question number one, is that the right five for this team? Question number two, is it enough?
I think it's the right five. The biggest thing to me is that center position. I think Bradbury is limited at this point of his career, but there is something to be said for the veteran experience that he's going to bring with a young quarterback, and being in the controls with Drake May pre-snap and things like that. I do think can be valuable to a second-year quarterback. So they have that going for them with Bradbury. I think the biggest concern that I have with the offensive line is the same as everybody else. It's pass blocking. I think they're going to be able to run the ball a little bit. They have a pretty powerful right side there and a pretty athletic left side. Even Bradbury is a pretty athletic run-blocking center. But at the same time, are they going to be able to hold up in pass protection? And really across the board, I would have concerns a little bit with some of those guys in pass pro. Really, just all 5 of them, I think, are better run blockers than they are pass blockers. So if they can get the run game going, they can lean on teams with the run game, and you play action off the run game, you stay out of 3rd and long, you try to stay on schedule offensively. I do think that they can get away with this group, and Josh McDaniels will certainly have his tricks of the trade up his sleeve to try to help this line, whether it's chips or moving the pocket or getting the ball out quickly or whatever the case may be. So I think they'll be all right. I think they'll get by, but certainly center, I think, is probably the biggest long-term need for the team, unless they move Jared Wilson over to center moving forward, but then that makes left guard a hole. So somewhere on that interior, I feel like they still are missing a starting caliber player.
Evan, a lot of movement in the backup quarterback market in the last couple of days, including a few minutes ago, Tom Pelissero tweeting out that the Browns are sending Kenny Pickett to the Raiders for a 5th-round pick. Could you envision a scenario in which the Patriots get involved in the backup quarterback market in the next 24 hours?
Yeah, it's been a sneaky need for me, as Josh Dobbs' summer has kind of been up and down. And in
That's
Minnesota,
a nice way to put it.
Yeah, when we were in Minnesota,
very diplomatic of you, Evan. I love it.
that's the job, right? In Minnesota, I thought he bounced back on the 2nd day of joint practices. The first day, Vrabel came out and said it was not good, right? But the 2nd day, I thought he bounced back a little bit, but it's just inconsistencies with ball placement and things like that do drive you a little nuts with Josh Dobbs. So I absolutely think that they're going to bring in a 3rd quarterback. It might even be a name that people recognize that might have some starter experience in the league that could push Josh Dobbs at some point if need be. So if you're on your backup quarterback, you're in trouble anyways. I think that's true for most teams. But at the same time, I think that's an area where they could look to upgrade.
Bailey Zappi? You want Bailey Zappi back?
Oh, God. I like Bailey Zappi, a perfectly fine guy, but I think we need to move on from some of those guys. But maybe a Tommy DeVito. I could be interested in a Tommy DeVito.
Poor Joe Murray. You have no idea how much you just hurt him there by trashing on Bailey Zappi. Very diplomatically so, by the way, saying you want nothing to do with Bailey Zappi. Evan, what's something that we haven't talked about enough with this Patriots team this summer that you are really interested in or have a strong take on?
I would say the edge rush. Like, I still wonder. I feel pretty good with Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, and I think Keon White will factor in there in the interior as well, in some different fronts that they're going to run. But how they generate pressure, and if they're going to be able to generate enough pressure with a 4-man rush, especially off the edge. Like, Kayvon Chason's had a great camp. I hope that continues into the season. Harold Landry maybe has a bounce-back year back in the system with Mike Vrabel and Terrell Williams, but Chazon has been a first-round disappointment, I would say, going back to the first-round pick there from a couple years ago. And then Landry, his pass rush ability dropped off a little bit last year. So was that scheme, was that age catching up to him? That remains to be seen. But I still feel like next offseason, this is another one that I'm sure Barth and I will be talking plenty about in 2026, is them drafting a pass rusher off the edge pretty early in the draft, maybe even a first-round pick on an edge rusher. It's an okay group. I just am not sure that it's a group that is going to win a ton without the help of the scheme. So how do they pressure quarterbacks? Do they blitz a lot? Do they run some exotic pressures to create pass rush and disruption? I'm looking forward to seeing how they kind of manufacture this, because I do think they might have to manufacture some pressure on the quarterback at times.
Before I let you go, any surprise cuts tomorrow? Any names that you're watching that might be a surprise to us?
Yeah, we were talking about that today at practice, and it doesn't feel that way because I think this roster, there's still some guys that are going to make this team that last 4 or 5 spots that you're really not necessarily pounding the table for to make the team. So I don't necessarily see it. Now, there were some guys that were out at practice the last couple of days. Like, I don't really know what their situations are, if they have injuries or whatnot, but Cole Strange hasn't been practicing. Jack Gibbons, the linebacker who they signed in free agency that has some history with Mike Vrabel in Tennessee, he hasn't been practicing either these last few days. So someone like that, I don't know if that really qualifies as a surprise, but maybe just a name that people would recognize.
All right, Evan, you're the best. Appreciate all the help. Appreciate your insight. We'll have you on again soon, and good luck as you get ready for the start of the season. I know, once that happens, it's like family, friends, all that stuff. It's all gone. So I hope you enjoy the next week and a half before the season begins.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Matt.
All right, sounds good. That's Evan Lazar, Patriots.com, joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. I see on the phone lines. We'll get to you. 617-779-0985. We've done a lot of Patriots talk tonight. We'll continue that. And, anything you want. It's 8:20. It's a Monday night. We've got 2 weeks to go till the start of the NFL season. Whatever the hell you want. Why not? It's a Joe show, by the way. You know how it goes. It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
This question's, guys, little rules of baseball thing. Is that umpire interference if the umpire gets hit straight in the ass in the field?
I'm guessing it was the umpire straight up the middle.
No, it's the umpire, third base umpire.
So if he's in foul territory, is it? I mean, I would imagine it's a foul ball.
You're along the same lines. I got texted by somebody that I knew years ago, youth baseball coach, and he texted me. He's like, "Hey, I saw something that I'd never seen before, and I wanted to get the ump makes the call kind of moment." He texted me because I'm a baseball nerd, and he said, "We watched an umpire get hit in the infield, and it was a dead ball, and it was umpire's interference." And I said, "Let me ask you this: was the umpire positioned in front of or behind the infielders?" And he said, "Well, in front." I said, "That's umpire's interference." So what happens is it's umpire's interference if the ball has not passed an infielder. So the only time that's ever going to happen is if the umpire at second is on the infield grass, which he is when there are runners on base. So this was not umpire's interference because it had passed Bregman, and then it hit the umpire straight in the ass. Right in the right cheek. Boom. Deflected. Couldn't get out of the way. Reflexes of a dead cat. Third base umpire.
Now, you see those MLB umps, not exactly the most athletic of umpires.
You know what actually generally amazes me is it almost never happens. I saw it and I was like, wow, the umpire just got hit. It almost never happens. Those guys are pretty good. Now, when I was in umpire school, Skaz, they taught you to open the gate, which is it's a great technique for most fat-ass umpires out there. This guy actually looks to be in shape, and I think that was his problem, is this umpire looks like he's in reasonable shape, which is why he tried to outrun, essentially, the baseball, which you're not going to do. But open the gate, Skaz, it's where you pivot your body. Like a gate, you open the gate. So fat-ass Joe West out there just opens the gate. Doing a demonstration on YouTube here. Yep, balls hit this way. Open the gate. Don't try and outrun it. Don't try and outjump it. Just pivot. Pivot. That guy should have pivoted. A good Red Sox game going on. You like that? Umpire breakdowns is what I'm here for.
I wonder what the Cowboys up to these days.
Nobody. Probably doing country albums, right?
Yeah, he's moonlighting as a karaoke guy right now, probably, or something.
Speaking of country, the other night, Saturday night, here in Boston, we had, to me, I think the double shot of the worst concert night in the history of Boston. At Gillette Stadium, we had Morgan Wallen and all 70,000 screaming people from Braintree who think they're from the country and definitely are not.
And Tim McCone.
Tim McCone was there. He was very excited about the Morgan Wallen concert, which Lord knows how much he spent on that. $400 a pop? Something. No, I'm not joking. That's what those tickets were going for, because I was talking to McCone about that. Jesus, dude, you're going to go out there. I think he only plays for an hour. Last time I heard, McCone had seen him before, and he was like, dude, I'm not going to lie. He played for an hour and 2 minutes, and I was not happy.
That's no Springsteen.
That's Springsteen's encore, dude. So Morgan Wallen, who is literally the worst of the worst, the definition of the Nashville creation hack, just some dude with no talent but the look who goes out there and just does his thing, and it's all mass-produced Nashville thing that takes no talent whatsoever. That was that Saturday night. And then Saturday night at Fenway Park was the Jonas Brothers. That is the double shot of the worst concert night, dare I say, in the history of Boston. I'm confident in that take, that is the worst. The definition of mass-produced for a certain type of person who's going to eat this crap up type of thing. Again, Morgan Wallen, 28-year-old girls from Braintree who think they're from the country, and the Jonas Brothers, 34-year-old girls who loved the Jonas Brothers when they were 14 because that's what they were targeted at by Disney, and Mr. Mouse, one of the greatest South Park episodes of all time. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
He rules with an iron fist.
He does. Mr. Mouse.
At least
DreamWorks, what's that?
At least the Jonas Brothers, I'll give the nostalgia factor. People go see New Kids on the Block or the Backstreet Boys. You can kind of sell me on that.
No way. So no way Morgan Wallen's going to be banging out Gillette Stadium in 20 years. Not a chance.
I would agree with that.
There will be some new mass-produced thing that every 28-year-old girl from Billerica who thinks she's from the country will go see. So I do agree, like the staying power, nobody's going to be nostalgic for Morgan Wallen. People will be nostalgic for that Jonas Brothers thing, but I'm convinced, Skaz, I've never been so confident in a take that is undeniably the worst concert night in the history of this city. Billy Idol was at Mansfield that night.
I think I'd go to Billy.
No doubt I'd go to Billy. Are you kidding me? Is that even a question?
Little white wedding.
If those are the three options, and I'm not saying that's a great option either, but like at least I'll take that. So like I don't want to lump Billy Idol in with the worst concert night in the history of this city. I think that's unfair to him. I mean, it's really it's guilt by association. I feel badly for Billy Idol. He had Joan Jett opening up for him. The Billy Idol, Joan Jett.
Not bad.
Double ticket. You could do worse.
You could do worse.
Great Woods has done worse double tickets than that.
Oh, yeah, I can guarantee you that one as someone who lives very close.
You and me both, my friend. You and me both. Go out on my back porch. Sometimes I hear some stuff. Loudest concert I ever heard at Great Woods was one of the members of One Direction. It was not Niall Horan and it was not Harry Styles. It was the other one.
Oh, I believe R.I.P. Zayn, right?
I don't even know if it was that one.
Okay, well then that's all I got.
All I know is Milliken was there, and I knew he was going, and I texted him, and I was like, this is the loudest show I've ever heard in my life. And he's like, I can't hear anything. They're all screaming. I'm like, I know you're screaming too. Don't you worry. Don't try and hide that from me.
My concert resume is not deep, I'll say that.
Really?
Just I'm not really a big crowds guy.
No, crowds are bad.
Yeah.
People are the worst. I do agree with that. We got to get you into like fancy seats.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Like,
a seat? I can do a seat. Festival,
suite?
not for me.
How about a suite?
Oh, suite, please. Yes.
Tremendous.
Can't
beat that. I've not done too many suites for a concert experience, but I did do AC/DC in the suite. That was great. The great part about that was AC/DC was not good, but I was in the suite, so.
I mean, they got to be mid-70s.
It was. Some bands still have it in the mid-70s. Like, I have not seen the Stones, but I hear they still have it. The Who are here tomorrow night. I might try to find a way to go to that show. I saw them 5 or 6 years ago.
I've heard not great on this tour.
Early 70s. They were great, though. They were awesome a few years ago, and I'm hard to please at a concert. I am.
You could just say in general, McCarthy.
That's true. I do have a high standard. I mean, listen, my concert standard is Springsteen, who I've seen 16 times, who at the age of 75 is still getting outs. He's still got it. That whole band still has it.
The Jamie Moyer of our generation.
I mean, that's insulting to Bruce Springsteen. That would be, no, he really is.
The Tom Brady is what you're going to say?
Yeah, he's the Tom Brady. He's the Tom Brady of that thing, like doing it into his 40s. Like Springsteen doing it into his 70s. There are very few bands. I hear the Stones still put on a great show. I did not see them. The Who put on a great show 5 or 6 years ago. You have not heard good things about this one?
I've heard this one not so great. I did see Van Morrison probably 5 or 6 years ago with my dad, and that was he put on a show, and I've heard very bad things about Van Morrison shows, so pleasantly surprised on that one. But the old guys, they are a risk.
They definitely are. AC/DC was a risk that I ended up paying for. That was tough. I will never forget the look on Beatles' face. First song, they sounded good. We're like, all right, here we go. We're in for one. Second song was Back in Black, I think. Beatle looked over at me, and it was... The only way to compare it would be, like, you know when Carl Lewis starts singing the national anthem, it's like, stay with me now? We weren't staying with him by the end of Back in Black. That was like, uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, not good. Not good, Bob. Not what you're looking for. 617-779-0985. Tough night. Tough night for them. Tough night for concert goers this past weekend. That's a tough one. How about Jason in Derry? Jason.
Matt, what's going on? I would like to commend the Patriots personnel department for not trading for Thuney in the offseason. We have no need there. We don't even know if he can play in this environment. He has no pedigree.
Not trading for who? I'm sorry?
For Joe Thuney.
Okay, Joe Thuney, yeah.
Thuney, sorry. We don't even know if he could play here, Matt, in this environment. He has no position versatility.
Yep.
We have no cap room. He's got no experience.
Yep.
We don't need Hall of Famers. Our line is already strong. Drake May will be fine. He doesn't know the system. To give up a fourth rounder would have been too much. And say we bring him in, he's like a diva offensive guard. We couldn't take that risk.
Sure. I hear what you're saying on that, Jason. Yes, the offensive line is not good enough. The Patriots personnel department might not be good enough. Elliott Wolf, definitely not good enough. I think we understand that. Now, Elliott Wolf will be the first to tell you that his draft this past year, not my fault. Look at Gerard Mayo. Look at that. I just hope Elliott Wolf is not the person who's actually in charge of this thing. I can't imagine that he is.
I was answering a phone call, so I apologize. I missed that one, but he was upset the Patriots didn't trade for Joe Thuney in the offseason?
No, he was sarcastic about it. Yes, he said, thank God they didn't trade for Joe Thuney. Thuney.
Gotcha.
Yes.
That was tough to follow. My apologies.
I was like, who? I'm sorry, who were we talking about? What? You were answering a phone call. You're doing your thing. You're answering maybe Tyler in Plymouth, shall we say. Tyler!
Oh, is that me?
That's you, man.
Oh, hey. McCarthy, I heard you say something about girls from Billerica. It kind of sounded like you had like some underlying issue with girls from Billerica.
No, I said Braintree too. I'm North Shore, South Shore. Just yes, people from Braintree and Billerica who go to country concerts and think they're country. Yes.
I can't disagree with you there, but it was just funny because I'm a South Shore kid myself, and when you said Billerica girls, I had a girlfriend from Billerica before, and you
did it not
exactly
go well?
Described her.
It sounds like it didn't go. Now, I mean, Tyler, listen, as somebody from the greater Plymouth area, I don't know if people from Plymouth and people from Billerica should be getting together. I mean, we can't have that.
What? I mean, hey, it worked out for a little bit. Actually, 4 years. So.
Whoa! That's like a lifetime for some of us. Me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, that's it was good. It's good while it lasted.
This is going to be a very Joe Murray style question, but it's the Joe Show. Tyler, what part, if you don't mind me asking, what part of Plymouth are we talking? North Plymouth? Are we talking South Plymouth? Because that really, honestly, is going to that's going to determine whether you can talk about a country concert or not.
It's okay. I'm South Plymouth all day. I'm way South Plymouth.
Way south.
Manamet.
Manamet. Well, hold on. Manamet isn't way south Plymouth.
Well, okay. It's medium south.
I was going to say, it's not Cedarville. It's not like White Island Shores.
Yeah, it's not Cedarville. But like, I'm South Plymouth all day.
That's like middle Plymouth. Although it depends on what part of Manamet you're in, and I had to let him go on that. But honestly, on what side of Manamet? Because if you're from Manamet, like, I don't know if you can really act like your country or anything. And I'm not saying Tyler is. But if he's from, like, the other side of Manamet, where you more have to go, like, Old Sandwich Road, which is a dirt road, which is very country as you can get, he has way more authority to talk about that than some girl from Braintree or Billerica, I'll tell you that. Tyler in Plymouth is as country as we get around here.
This feels like the Joe Murray Show.
It's what we want, right? I mean, we give the people what they expect. Ever driven a dirt road there, Skaz?
Oh, yeah, I've been on that one.
Old Sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
Was on it the other night. Good way to mess up your shocks.
Nice little couple good golf courses down there.
Tremendous. Best golf town in the state, bar none. You can't find a bad course there. Just at Southers Marsh on Saturday. That's my spot. Find me there. I've not been there as much as I want to this year. But they take the balls out of the bogs and they donate them to the Boys and Girls Club of Plymouth. You can buy, they call them bog balls. You go in, it's $1 a ball. Do you know how many kids I have probably given scholarships to?
A lot of McCarthy balls in the bogs.
All of them. They need to bury me in that bog off of the 4th green. That's where I belong, because that's where every one of my rounds has gone to die. So I might as well go die there too. 617-779-0985. Hey, we will go in or out, because it is the Joe Show. We'll do that next.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox looking to hold on in Baltimore. They lead 4-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Jaron Duran, the big hit in this one, a 3-run homer. Roman Anthony led off.
Everybody knows Joe.
Just keeps getting better.
Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed.
Earlier tonight in the YouTube chat, somebody asked me, they said, McCarthy, you are doing in or out tonight, right? I mean, come on. Who do you think I am? Think I'm somebody who's just going to come in here and not pay respect? I'm not saying I can do in or out like Joe Murray, but you got to do it, right? It's a staple.
Joe, obviously Joe is the one that started in or out, but I believe it is the longest running bit or segment on the station, maybe? According to Joe, anyways, at least.
Murray's Musings.
Maybe that's what
Murray's
it is.
Musings, and then In or Out was born out of Murray's Musings. In or Out became a staple of Murray's Musings. It really gave birth to In or Out. So, I mean, come on.
Here we are.
We've got to do it. I mean, it's the year 2025. We're still doing In or Out. It's tremendous.
Well, it is the year 2025, and you get headlines like this in the year 2025. Matt McCarthy, a Monday night edition of In or Out. Haley Steinfeld is making a movie with DK Metcalf where they travel to an asteroid to mine for wealth, and you have to watch it through an extended reality device. Matt McCarthy, are we in or out on the Haley Steinfeld DK Metcalf asteroid movie that you must watch through a virtual reality device?
Before I give you my answer, what do you think my answer is for this, Gaz? You know me well enough.
I'm going to say out.
Strong out. Strong out on this. I hate this idea so much. And the only reason why is because it terrifies me. So years ago, I mean, this is probably 10 years ago, I visited a younger cousin who was probably, 13 at the time, out west. And he was like, hey, you've got to try this virtual thing. You got to try this virtual headset, this VR thing. And this is in the infancy of the VR headsets. And he had me do some kitchen game for 10 minutes. And you put this thing on, you're like, this looks dumb. It looks so stupid. Yeah, I know I'm not. I know I'm in a different world and all that. And it's a little bit disorienting. But you're like, well, this is ridiculous. This is not virtual reality. I did it for 10 minutes. I took the thing off and I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize how immersed I got into the world. It was the most terrifying experience of my life. And I was like, this is in its infancy. No. Oh, bad. What if you make it look real? Bad. Real bad. Out. Strong out on that. It's the most terrifying thing we're doing as human beings is virtual reality. I could not be more out on this or anything associated with it.
I'm with you there. Out on AI and virtual reality. Out. Matt McCarthy, you're a guy who likes to, you'll mix in a game every once in a while.
Yeah, why not?
Play little video games. Well, now out on PlayStation, a new game called Zoocosis. It is a body cam horror game where you play as a zookeeper tasked with curing mutant animals or die trying. Matt McCarthy, are we in or out on a horror zookeeper video game?
I'm not putting on a headset for this thing, right?
I don't believe so.
No, I'm in on this. Why not? It's just a video. I can draw the line between video games and virtual reality. Honestly, this sounds like it kind of might be funny. And I might be amused by the whole experience of the zookeeper trying to cure the mutants and what am I going in? Am I going into Harambe's pen? What's going on here? Am I going into the lion's den? I can get on board with that. I can have some humorous moments with this. All I need is a cheap laugh and a chuckle. I'm in on this. Why not?
All right, McCarthy.
What's the platform? PlayStation?
PlayStation.
I need to get a PlayStation then.
Me too. McCarthy, we'll head to the world of golf for this one. The Ryder Cup only a month away, but another U.S. versus international tournament is on the horizon as well. Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler will captain four-man teams in a U.S. versus international all-star skills type format, similar to last year's showdown, but without live players this year. It will take place in December. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on Rory and Scottie captaining four-man teams in an all-star skills format?
I think I'm out on all of this stuff. I think I'm out on the match. I think I'm out on the golf league. I think I'm out on anything associated with creating some form of more golf content. I love golf. I love the sport, but have I sat around and watched any of this? If I sat around and watched the match, are they still doing that thing? The match?
No idea.
Couldn't tell you. Out. I like golf tournaments. I'm all for actually the idea of tweaking the FedEx Cup playoffs so you have more of a match play style format for golf's playoffs, but there are actual stakes in that. I'm in. But like some made for TV event with golf where we just get a whole bunch of guys to like do these things, I'm good with this. I'm out. Is golf starting to become a little oversaturated? Is there a little too much golf? As somebody who likes golf, is there a little too much golf?
I think it's spread too thin, is what I would say. It's oversaturated might be the right word, but yeah, it's the coverage of it is spread too thin. It needs to all be in one place. All right, McCarthy, we'll head to Hulu for this next one. The Hulu docuseries about Bill Belichick's UNC football team is back on, with Jordan Hudson taking a victory lap, according to Awful Announcing. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on a Hulu docuseries about Bill Belichick's UNC football team?
I couldn't be more in on this. I love this. I can't wait to sit down and watch it. I want to see how much Jordan is going to be involved in it. I want to see how they try and present that Bill is happy to be the head coach of UNC, because it's going to be so obviously filled with crap, and it's going to be such a Belichick image rehabilitation experience. It's going to be so shameless, and I can do shameless, man. I'm all about shameless. I love it when people do things that just make them look so petty, and this whole experience is going to make Bill look so petty. I love this. I'm into this. I couldn't be more in on this. I can't wait to watch. Is it out now? It's not out now, right?
I don't believe so.
In anything with Jordan trying to prove anything to me, I can't get enough of. In.
All right, well, it wouldn't be a Matt McCarthy in or out without at least a little baseball. Netflix and MLB have their first deal of their new partnership. It will be for the World Baseball Classic in Japan. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on Netflix streaming the 2026 World Baseball Classic?
Sure, why not? In. I think Netflix, by the way, is a great landing spot for the Home Run Derby. If you want to do baseball events, and that's kind of what the World Baseball Classic is. I like it because I like baseball, but I don't need it. The games in Japan are going to be played kind of in the middle of the night or late night hours. Like, yeah, you want to throw it on Netflix and have the games be live streamed there? I'm good with that. I would want the World Baseball Classic final, especially if it's USA Japan, to be on, NBC or ESPN or whatever that thing is, so I can get it there. But like events like the Home Run Derby and group play games of the World Baseball Classic in Japan, that's a perfect spot for streaming. I'm in on that. I'm not anti-streaming. I'm anti-only streaming for something that I actually want. That's how I'd put it. That's how I feel about that. So in on this.
That is going to wrap up a Monday night edition of In or Out.
There's a Belichick thing that I want to get to later on in the program. You mentioned Jordan. You mentioned Belichick. I want to get to that. But on the other side, we have a man who maybe needs no introduction to all of us here in Boston, despite the fact that he is a radio guy who does national radio. Also has done years of radio in Nashville. He's a man by the name of Jared Stillman. He has made a name for himself around here with his Mike Vrabel commentary and coverage. He has thoughts on Vrabel's Rats comment. We'll get to the great Jared Stillman joining the program next.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
signing a contract extension in Washington, 3 years worth up to $96 million. Bengals and Trey Hendrickson striking an agreement on a raise today, $14 million raise for him. He will be an unrestricted free agent after this season. Jacoby Myers wants a trade, according to Ian Rappaport. The Raiders tell Rappaport they don't plan to trade him. However, they did sign free agent wide receiver Amari Cooper shortly after that news came out. Chiefs cutting Bailey Zappi. Browns trading Kenny Pickett to the Raiders. Headlines are brought to you by Celsius Energy Drinks. Refresh your energy with zero sugar, essential vitamins, and proven ingredients. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update in 30 minutes.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
All right, Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray tonight. We'll get into the Red Sox, who just picked up a nice win in Baltimore. We will get there at some point here in the program. We're here until 11. Hold your horses. Take your time. We'll get there. But anytime I have an opportunity to bring on my good friend Jared Stillman, I want to do that. We go to the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Jared Stillman from Mad Dog Sports Radio. He's going to be on all this week in the morning, 6 to 10. On Mad Dog. And one of the reasons I love bringing on Jared Stillman, and I don't know if you would agree with this, Jared, I'm going to say that you are one of the foremost experts, the foremost media experts on Mike Vrabel. Would you agree with that, and do you think Mike Vrabel would agree with that statement?
I guess I would agree with that statement. I think Vrabel probably deep down inside would too. One time years ago when he was the coach of the Titans, I kind of made it my job. I didn't want, as a talk show host working in Nashville at the time, I did not want there to be any stone unturned, right? Like I wanted to know everything, study everything. So there was a story that came out in the Ringer about Vrabel, and that day at practice, it came out at like 6 a.m. That day at practice, I asked Vrabel a question. You were quoted in the Ringer as saying, and Vrabel looked at me and he goes, well, I really appreciate you keeping up with me. It's like, Mike, that's kind of the job, right? Like as a talk show host in town, you're the coach. Like, it's kind of the job. You said it. It's my job to know. So, yeah, I'd say that I'm probably one of the foremost experts on Mike Vrabel. I do believe that if there was a trial of Mike Vrabel, I could pass as an expert witness, though his attorneys would probably try to get me tossed.
Yeah, they definitely wouldn't want you on the jury. I'll put it to you that way, Stillman. Jared Stillman from Mad Dog Sports Radio joining us. Covered Vrabel for years and years and years in Tennessee. All right, so what do we make of the rat comments? I need you to translate this. I'll give you my translation, and I want you to let me know if I'm right or wrong. My translation was... That was him busting balls, but also sending a warning to anybody in the organization, the Josh McDanielses of the world, guys that he didn't bring in, Elliott Wolf, who's a holdover here. That was my sense on it. As you, again, the foremost Mike Vrabel expert in the media out there, what was your sense? Can you translate this for us?
So I'm going to take your opinion and tell you that that's wrong. And I'm also going to take Greg Bedard's opinion, because I heard Greg Bedard earlier today on the station, and he just immediately just said, this isn't a story. And let me state for the record, I like Greg. But he said, this isn't a story. And I'm like, oh, no. It is a story. So let me explain a term that we coined in Nashville, led by me, called...
You coined in Nashville.
That is true. I did coin it. Me and Caroline Fenton, who's now at Yahoo, but we were together for years. We kind of came up with this on our own. We call it Vrabelese. And the thing about Vrabelese and Mike Vrabel is there is always a pair of lines to read between. And the thing you have to understand about Mike Vrabel is he cannot help himself sometimes when it comes to passive-aggressive comments. If you go back to that cut, the question was very simple. Jalen Polk is having back surgery. Is there anything you'd like to add to that? Vrabel said no. Now, right then and there, that should be the end of it, right? Like if you're Vrabel and you're no nonsense and you don't want to give the media a quote, you don't want to say anything, and you don't want to, isn't no the perfect answer? No and move on. But Vrabel cannot help himself. And this happened time and time again in Tennessee, most notably that last year. And in the last year in Tennessee, Vrabel was forced into a shotgun marriage with Ran Carthon, an incompetent general manager with whom he didn't hire, whom he didn't respect. And there were so many times during that 2023 season where Ran Carthon would say something and there would be a Vrabelese comment to follow it up, or Vrabel would say something and I would hear it in a press conference and my head would just pop up and I'd say, oh my God, he's talking about Ran. And then immediately everybody in the local press and everybody, oh, no, that's not that. No. Just like Greg Bedard. No, it's not a story. No. I mean, they brought in one of the local writers to do a sit down where Vrabel and Ran Carthon basically held hands and told everybody they were best buddies. And then immediately, as soon as the season's over, Vrabel's fired, and it's like, Rand's going to go hire his own coach. I mean, it was so obvious. It was so obvious they didn't like each other, just based off the passive-aggressive comments Vrabel made. And I heard Felger's frustrations earlier today, because he was frustrated with the local press not asking questions. And boy, have I been there. Boy, have I been there. There's some Vrabel drama going on, and nobody in the local press at the press conference decided to ask about the local drama or about the national drama. You know what? Rossini could report it, who, by the way, is Vrabel's, in my opinion, direct-to, go-to source. Mm-hmm. But like a Rossini or a Rappaport or something like that reporting something, and I'm like, are you guys going to ask? They were asking Vrabel the day of the last game. They were saying on television, hey, Vrabel might be fired. And they play Jacksonville. Jarek Henry runs for like 150 yards. They win the game. And nobody at the post-game press conference asks Vrabel about the reporting about whether or not he's going to get fired. I could not believe myself. So when I heard Felger today getting all worked up about the fact that, how could they not ask questions about the rat comment? I said to myself, you know what? I thought this was a local Nashville thing. I don't think it is. I think Mike Vrabel intimidates the daily beat guys to where they will not ask hard questions. Like, they do not want to get it from Vrabel. And as somebody who has gotten it from Vrabel many a time in my life, and I like Vrabel, but as somebody who's gotten it from Vrabel.
Sounds like it.
I mean, if you guys can't have the cojones to stand up to, what's he going to do? Go over there and smack you? I mean, what's he going to do? Ask him the meaningful questions. I lived it in Nashville where it was, I couldn't totally explain it, like the intimidation factor, because it's not like Vrabel's going to smack you. But for some reason, the local beat writers that cover the team every day are just afraid to challenge Vrabel. And I guess that's what's happening here. Or to take Vrabel somewhere uncomfortable where Vrabel may turn it back on them. And again, it's more fun. Vrabel one time, I don't know if you remember this, McCarthy, but Vrabel got up there at the podium at the Patriots Hall of Fame induction. And he made a comment along the lines of, hey, this place is really special. Yep. It's not like this everywhere.
Yep. A direct shot at Nashville, a direct shot at the Titans, all of that.
So I heard that, and on my show the next day, I said, I teased the segment by saying Mike Vrabel's going to hate this topic. And then I said, am I reading too much into this? Vrabel says it's not like this everywhere else. I mean, is he talking about Ohio State? Probably not. Is he talking about the Steelers, a proud franchise? Probably not. No. He's talking about you. And so I said, am I reading too much into this? And of course, like all the local fans, no, Jared, you're just a hater. Like, okay. So then the next day, Vrabel gets asked about it in the press conference. And Vrabel's like, who's parsing the comments? And I put my hand in the air. I said, I am. And so I said, when you said it's not like this everywhere else, were you talking about here? And Vrabel's like, no, I was just talking about the fact they won 6 Super Bowls in 20 years. And Jared, you're never going to think like me and think like a man. And I actually was like laughing and thinking like, I was like, oh, this is great because this is going to be great on the radio. And it was.
He went half Medvedev on you?
Yes. And I was just like, I mean, I was kind of laughing about it because I'm like, oh, this is going to be great for the radio. But of course, like everyone on Twitter, like, Vrabel body bag you and oh. But Vrabel talked for like 2 minutes in this one cut about, how I'm not going to ever think like him and all that stuff. And I listened to it, and at no point, all he had to do was to say, no, I wasn't talking about here. We won 6 Super Bowls in New England. I won 3 of them. It was a great place when I was there, and that's what we're trying to build here. And with the support of ownership, we are trying to build it our way, but it's all you have to do, right? And then your owner's like, okay, yeah, no, he was just talking about the Super Bowls. But that all happened, and there was all this big public discourse about, was that a shot at the Titans in Nashville? And a majority said no. The minority, led by me, said yes. Well, when he gets fired, it comes out a story written by Rossini in The Athletic that, apparently that comment Vrabel made really pissed the owner off. So it's like with Vrabel, I understand like this fear of asking the question or whatever, but like this is Boston. This isn't Nashville. And I love Nashville. I'm from Nashville. But this is Boston. Like, I remember when I worked in New Hampshire getting my career started, and I would listen to some of you people call in after the Ravens beat the Patriots in the AFC title game saying it's time to turn it over to Ryan Mallett. What happened to that? You know, people with real teeth, now we're afraid to ask Vrabel questions. So, long story short, I want you to know, McCarthy, and I want everybody to know out there that this absolutely was a passive-aggressive shot at somebody inside that building, probably Elliot Wolf, but I don't know the dynamics well enough. I've seen him do it with Rand Carthon before. But to act like this isn't a story, to act like, he's talking about the agents of the players, get out of here. He's talking about somebody in the building. He's talking about a faction in the building or multiple people in the building. And just like I said when he got the job and I went on the afternoon show at the Super Bowl, I said, he's going to run those people that are not Mike Vrabel people. He's going to run them out of there. And this is just the beginning.
Hey, listen, fine by me, Jared, if he runs them out. Jared Stillman's joining us from Mad Dog Sports Radio. Covered Mike Vrabel in Tennessee for a long time, if you couldn't tell. And, listen, there are different factions in this organization, and it would be one of the things I'd be most concerned about. And we go back to the day that Vrabel was hired, Jared. This was, is Elliot Wolf going to stay on, and how much power is Elliot Wolf going to have? And is this going to result in, Vrabel and Cowden coming in and pulling power away from Wolf, and is he going to be able to handle that? So I guess that's the way I look at the rat comment. I don't know if that came from an agent. My gut says it probably did come from an agent, but that's Vrabel's opportunity to kind of send a shot at the people in the organization who I'm sure probably aren't on the same page as him, simply because they were hired by different people. There's going to be an inevitable power struggle. Who's probably going to win that power struggle? It's probably going to be Vrabel, but somebody like Elliot Wolf, might want to, get a shot in or two here or there. Josh McDaniels was not hired by Vrabel, was hired by ownership. Like, those types of things are going to exist in the Patriots. And is it unfair of me, Jared, based on what you saw in Tennessee, to think that those could eventually be issues, to have people who are holdovers or were hired by somebody else to not fully have the blessing of Vrabel or, frankly, any coach in that position?
Yeah, it's going to be a problem. And here's the problem with that. I understand, hey, don't most coaches want their guys in there? Don't most coaches want people they can trust inside their operation and inside their building? But the problem with Mike Vrabel, and the thing about all coaches, and I think you can agree with me on this, McCarthy, all coaches have strengths and weaknesses. Mm-hmm. This idea that there's some sort of perfect coach that's out there, I think that's a little over the top. And the weakness that Mike Vrabel has is his number one desire in an assistant coach is not their ability to coach. It is not their ability to strategize and game plan. It is not their development of players. It is their loyalty to Vrabel. And their loyalty to Vrabel is more important than their ability to coach.
Sounds
and
like somebody
Tennessee,
I know around here.
Well, I will tell you. What did I say the day he got hired? Best part about him, he's like Bill. The worst part about him, he's like Bill. The only difference, and this is why people brush this off, is he's got a much better personality than Bill. He is a lot more socially aware than Belichick. I hear people say, Vrabel's the kind of guy you'd love to have a beer with. And there is some truth to that. Vrabel is a very social, very affable. But, when I'm looking for a head coach and I'm saying, is he a good hirer of assistant coaches? Is he a good strategist? Is he a hard worker? I never sit there and say, you know what I really want in a head coach? Somebody I'd like to have a beer with. That's not something you want in a head coach. This is not Little League. So I will say that he does have more of a personality than Belichick, but his biggest strengths are a lot like Belichick's. He's a tireless worker. I mean, he is a tireless worker. He will read the rule book inside and out. He will motivate his players. He will hold people accountable. And then the downside is similar to Bill. He only hires people who are loyal to him. He thinks his guys know all, and he doesn't really hold those people accountable. And on top of it, when it comes to Bill and Vrabel, they can't play nice with others. No matter how hard they try, they can't play nice with others. And that's going to be a problem here in New England. And it may not be a problem right away because if Vrabel can't play nice with Elliott Wolf may get the axe. Mm-hmm. But if Vrabel doesn't win a Super Bowl, it's going to be a problem if you can't play nice with others, especially ownership. You know, I saw Belichick's comments last week about Jonathan Kraft and Robert Kraft, and it's so obvious Belichick hates Kraft, and Kraft probably at this point hates Belichick too. It's kind of like a Jerry and Jimmy thing. They can't win without each other, but they absolutely hate each other. But at the same time, like, if that dynamic is real, and Jonathan Kraft is a pain in everyone's ass, which, again, Belichick was alluding to, Vrabel is not going to get along with him and is subsequently not going to ultimately get along with the Krafts. So I would keep that in mind. He does not play nice with others. And that's why, like, if somebody said to me before Vrabel got hired, if they said, Jared, I am interviewing Mike Vrabel to be the head coach of my football team, what do you think? I would say he's a good coach, but you have to make him just be the coach. You have to have a general manager who has more power than him, who picks the players, whom he answers to, and you got to just get him to coach. But they've already screwed this up because Vrabel's running the operation. Vrabel's never evaluated talent in his life. The one time that he was involved in the draft here in Tennessee, it was a disaster. He picked a freaking guard with the 11th overall pick, a guard who stinks, by the way.
Well, by the way, they may have just done the exact same thing because Will Campbell might be a guard with the 4th overall pick, Jared.
So go back to when I was on the Felger and Mass program at the Super Bowl. And Felger asked me, he said, who are they going to pick in the draft? You're in Tennessee. They have the number 1 pick. Surely I say they're going to pick Will Campbell. I said, Vrabel loves these big old fatties with short arms. He did it in Tennessee. He's going to do it here. And when they took Will Campbell, I said, I knew it. So he might be a guard. Hey, at least Vrabel's letting him play tackle, whereas they drafted Skoronski, who was a tackle who ended up moving to guard, and they never actually let him play tackle, even though they didn't have a left tackle, which I still don't understand to this day. It was a disaster. The draft and the offseason that he helped run the personnel with Rand Carthon, it was just a train wreck. And so I think the Patriots have already screwed it up with Vrabel. I think in 4 years he's going to be out. Somebody else is going to be in. And I really am not confident in his ability to develop Drake May. Other than that, though, he's a good coach.
Hey, listen, I feel great about Mike Vrabel, and I'm going to just completely ignore the warnings you just gave us for the last 18 minutes because I want to put my head in the sand and I don't want to hear it. So I'm just going to give that to you, Jared. I hear what you're saying, but I don't want to hear it, and I'm not going to listen. Does that sound fair?
You know what? I at least appreciate the honesty there.
No,
you know, the idea like. With Titan fans and, you know, again, it's smaller market kind of, it's like instead of acknowledging, hey, there's some serious red flags here. And I will say that I really wondered if Vrabel took the year away, and I know he was in Cleveland, but whatever. If he took the year away and really looked in the mirror and said, okay, here's what I did well in Tennessee. Here's where I need to improve. And when I heard that Rats comment, I'm like, he didn't do any of that. He looked in the mirror and said, those hillbillies in Tennessee don't know what they're doing. I'm a great coach, and whoever gets me next is going to get the great coach the Titans didn't know they had, which, again, stems from one of his biggest issues as a coach, his arrogance, which is a lot like his coaching daddy. Bill Belichick.
Hey, listen, Jared, maybe the hillbillies in Tennessee didn't know what they were doing. I mean, that seems like a very reasonable opinion. Jared, when can we find you? When can we find you on Mad Dog Sports Talk on Mad Dog Sports Radio?
I'll be in the rest of this week with Jeff Schwartz, the former NFL offensive lineman, for a couple days, and Caroline Fenton will be with me for a couple of days. 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM Channel 82. On Twitter, by the way. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter at Jared, Jared, Jared Stillman, and on Instagram at the Jared Stillman. And I should be having some more info and other stuff coming out here soon, so always appreciate the time, Matt.
Hey, listen, can't wait for your next stuff. Despite what people say in the chat, I love Jared Stillman. As many of us would grow to love him if you heard more of him. So the best, Jared. Appreciate you coming on.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, sounds good. That's Jared Stillman. Covered Vrabel and Nashville forever. Mad Dog Sports Radio. He's got some stuff coming your way. So check him out at Jared Stillman on Twitter. 617-779-0985. Chat took it very well. They liked it. They liked that stuff. We'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray. Red Sox with the win tonight. We'll do that next.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
boy, does he have a bone to pick with Mike Vrabel. He's not afraid about it, too. He'll be the first to tell you, oh, yeah, I had this run-in with Vrabel. I had that run-in with Vrabel. Guy's got some issues with him. Just makes it so good. Something tells me, by the way, that's not the only time we're going to be hearing Jared Stillman. I'm going to guess. If you liked that tonight, you'll probably hear a little bit more of it tomorrow. That would be my sense.
Even if you didn't, you're going to hear more of it tomorrow.
Some of you might not have liked it. I see you in the chat. Some of you had an issue with it. That's the thing about Jared. He's going to get you to react either way.
I didn't think anything you said was too outlandish. You just said you want Mike Vrabel to be just the head coach, not the GM, which I think I would agree with.
Okay, yes, but I would still prefer Mike Vrabel being the GM over Elliot Wolf. Who would I rather have picking the players, Mike Vrabel or Elliot Wolf?
Well, see, I think it's Elliot Wolf or Stretch, I think, is the real conversation.
Yeah.
And I've read actually multiple things that say Stretch is the greatest GM of all time. He is the GM in waiting. He is the chosen one, the promised one. So, yeah, give me Stretch all day. Then there are no excuses. So I would say yes, give me Stretch over Elliot Wolf.
Elliot Wolf is one of the rats. I don't know if that comment is directed at him, because I do think that came from an agent. I do. I think the Jalen Polk thing came from an agent. But I think Vrabel had the chance to jump on that and put the rats on warning. Put them on blast. Like, all right, toe the line here. I'm in charge. The way he should be. See, this is where I disagree with Jared. I have no problem with Mike Vrabel being in charge of the organization. I want my head coach in football, for the most part. I mean, unless it's Howie Roseman. You have Howie Roseman, that's fine. Les Snead in L.A., but for the most part, I need my head coach having a massive say. Especially if you're going to build the head coach as the savior, which they kind of have. I mean, Vrabel is one of the most important people in the... It's Drake May and then Mike Vrabel. 1-2 most important people. So, yeah, give him power. If he fails, he fails. But I don't want to have a situation like last year where I'm trying to figure out who's making decisions. That's a problem. So I have no problem with my head coach being empowered. 617-779-0985. Because what happens if you have a dysfunctional situation like the Red Sox front office and the Red Sox manager? Like, somebody needs to be empowered. You want to empower the GM and make the head coach a figurehead? That's fine. I just don't know if it works in that sport too much in football. Because imagine if the Red Sox had Joe Ryan to go along with this team. They pick up a win tonight. I made the argument yesterday. I will make the argument until the end of the season. The Red Sox have as good a chance to win the pennant as anybody else in the American League, which says a lot about the American League, given the Red Sox still have flaws. Dustin May, if the season ended today and you go to the ALDS, Dustin May starting Game 4. How do you feel about that? Probably not great.
Bad.
Who's that option? You want Cooper Criswell starting that game?
Honestly, in his spot starts this year, pretty good.
You want Walker Buehler starting that game?
No. No, I do not.
Probably not going to be Dick Fitz, who left this game tonight with what appeared to be an arm injury. You have an update?
Small update on that. Richard Fitz postgame said it was made it clear he feels pretty good about it. They'll find out more tomorrow. Seems like they dodged a bullet. Bicep tightness is what they're calling it.
Okay. Bicep tightness you generally do worry about because that can be a precursor to arm injuries, but that would be good. Not that I'm really counting on Dick Fitz for much, but somebody's got to step forward here. Doesn't sound like it's going to be Kyle Harrison. They would have gone with him tonight if they felt like he were ready. So, yeah, the Red Sox have problems at the back end of their rotation. Everybody has problems in baseball. Let me give you another reason why the Red Sox, you should feel good about them. 4-3 win tonight. Jarren Duran goes deep. He has the big hit of the game. Roman Anthony opens the game with a home run. Youngest player in Red Sox history to lead off a game with a home run since Bobby Doerr. I'm going to assume in 39. I should check the year. I think Doerr came up the same year Ted Williams did. Or it might have been 41. Thank you, Skaz. I see you baseball referencing Bobby Doerr back there. What could make me more excited? I had Jared Stillman on yelling for 25 minutes, and now we're talking Bobby Doerr. This is my kind of night. What a night to be me. What a night to be alive. Bobby Doerr's debut year was...
He broke into the majors in 37, but became a regular part of the lineup in 38, it looks like.
Okay, so he predated Ted at that point. Find me his Pacific Coast League stats. Oregon guy. Find me those.
No.
Flat out no? You're not going to do that for me?
I'll take a look.
Other producers would look those up. Not you, Skaz. You dictator back there. You do the Joe show. You should be more than capable of finding weird things that just feed into the host's interests. But Roman Anthony goes deep tonight. Jaren Duran goes deep. That's the big hit of the game. Red Sox win 4-3. The key moment of this game was in the 8th inning. Sox were up 4-3. Garrett Whitlock comes in on a night where the Red Sox essentially go bullpen. Whitlock comes in, gives up an opening double. Was it to Colton Cowser? I'm not sure who the double was to. Colton Cowser were at a big night. Opening double to Colton Cowser. Whitlock then strikes out the side. That guy has been nails. He's been nasty. He is a top 5 most important guy on this team. It's Crochet, it's Bregman, it's Bayo, it's Roman Anthony, and it's Garrett Whitlock. Those are the 5 most important guys on the Red Sox.
Would you like Bobby Doerr's Hollywood or San Diego PCL stats?
Dude, give me both, please, if you could.
Hollywood, let's see. At age 16, he played 67 games, 201 at-bats, 259 batting average, 289 slugging.
Not great. Even 16-year-old, though. Not great. Be better.
17 years old, still in Hollywood. 172 games, 647 at-bats, 205 hits, a 317 batting average.
Big-time jump from 16 to 17 there.
And then 1936, he's moved up to San Diego in the PCL. 175 games, 695 at-bats, 342 batting average.
175 games? Is that right?
That's what it says.
Boy, they played a lot of baseball back in the day.
That was
baseball. When men were men. It was before the war. We played 175 baseball games a year. Ask somebody to do that this year. This day and age, not going to happen. They would die. 175 games. He probably got hurt that year. They probably played like 230 back in the day. I had the pure pleasure of reading Old Hoss Radbourne stats from 1884 in the Providence Grays yesterday. Man threw 678 and 2/3 innings. You wonder what happened to that final third. And we'll never know. Somebody should research that. But Garrett Whitlock, man, give him the ball every day. Old Hoss Radbourne style. Guy's been a stud. Stud. Critically important to this team. They're going to need, over the course of this final 30-game stretch, and listen, they're going to the playoffs. You've seen it. It's pretty much an automatic at this point. It's pretty much a given. Not that I want to give it the McCarthy jinx. Please do not mark tape on that, Skaz. But they've proven to you that this team does not have the collapse in them that they have had in recent years. We are now on the verge of September. They are still playing good baseball. They are showing no signs of being the team that they've been in the last 3 years. And the reason for that, simply put, is the pitching. They have an ace. They have a guy who has been a bona fide number 2 starter in Brian Bayo. The game in Yankee Stadium that impressed me the most over the weekend was the 1-0 win on Friday, where Bayo goes 7. You go Bayo, Whitlock, Chapman. Chapman's been dynamite. Whitlock's been a legit bona fide setup guy. He has really adapted well to the 1-inning role. He was struggling earlier on in the year when they were trying to get multiple innings at it. He's just a straight-up 1-inning guy. They still do need another righty to emerge in that bullpen. I know Buehler went 2 1/3 yesterday. I want to believe, Skaz, I want to believe in Walker Buehler. I love the signing. I believe in the experience. The guy has been nails in October. I'm hoping the stuff plays better in the bullpen. I still saw a guy who didn't have enough command, still is throwing about 7 pitches, and obviously has confidence in none of them. I want to keep giving him a shot because I do think he could be an impact arm in the bullpen if the stuff finds a way to play more. He needs the fastball to play more. He needs the fastball to play more in the zone. I think he's afraid. I think he's afraid to be in the zone. I don't think he has enough confidence, which is why you're seeing the command not be great because he knows he's not throwing 99 anymore. But if in a 1-inning stint, if they can let him go out there and gas for 1 inning, I hope the fastball velocity ticks up, and I hope he's more confident in attacking hitters. Because if he shows that over the course of the next month, I do think he could help them in the bullpen. I didn't necessarily see that last night, but I hope he can adapt to the role. They're going to need somebody to step up because I'm worried about burning out Chapman and Whitlock. You keep seeing, I mean, they've now pitched 3 out of 4 nights. You keep seeing it. They keep needing to go to Chapman Whitlock, obviously in reverse order. Somebody needs to step up here. I hope Slayton's okay coming back from the injured list. I'm not convinced he will be. It feels like a long time to be off. So I do worry about that. Bullpen guys are so up and down, but I'm telling you, that's a key. They need to get another impact righty out of that pen, and it's going to have to come from inside the organization. And this is where you go back to the deadline and you say that's a problem. I'm not counting on it to be Dustin May. I'm not counting on it. I'll tell you that right now. But they got to find it from somewhere. 617-779-0985. How about JP in North Providence? JP.
McCarthy, before we get to the fun stuff with the Red Sox, as a guitar player and world-class shredder, you're going to appreciate this. You were talking concerts. Way back when, fall of 77 to spring of 78, I saw Aerosmith, Earth, Wind & Fire, and Kiss within a 5-month span. After that, never again for concerts, but it was a great, great time. And a lot of them were still touring, so old-timers could still give you a great concert. As far as the Red Sox, that win tonight was better than going to Northeast Men's Health listening to that on the radio. That game was exciting. It got you going. McCarthy, our over is looking real good. Thank you so much. Way back when you and I were on that bandwagon, 72 wins. We got to get to 84.5. Oh, it's looking good, Matt.
I'm feeling good if I got them at 84.5. I got them at 86.5. I'm still feeling good about that. Schedule's pretty easy down the stretch. Do some more Sox talk coming up. Nice win for them tonight. And I know the Orioles suck, but listen, it's baseball, all right? Teams win games all the time that they shouldn't win. That's a good comeback win for the Red Sox. Good close ball game. They made the plays down the stretch. There's a play at third base at the Red Sox challenge. They got overturned. They get out of the 8th inning with the tying run on second base. Chapman shuts the door in the 9th. That's a good win for this team. Good win. 617-779-0985. We continue. It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox won 4-3 tonight. They beat the Orioles. Jarren Duran, the big home run in this game, a 3-run shot. Sox will play again tomorrow, second of a 4-game set. NFL roster cutdown set for 4 o'clock tomorrow. Patriots waiving Layden Robinson yesterday. Terry McLaurin signing a 3-year contract extension in Washington worth up to $96 million. Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals agreeing to
And the Red Sox are on top with another home run. And for him, number 13.
I was saying those first two at-bats, you liked what you saw from him. Kind of looked, there was conviction in those two ABs, right? Hitting that ball hard the other way, sticking with a game plan in second at-bat, drawing walks, knowing what he's looking for here from Sagano, and he gets his pitch.
Sustainable things and the not-so-sustainable things to come out of this game tonight. Whitlock's been awesome, man. He's been awesome. And I certainly hope that's sustainable. Whitlock and Chapman, I feel really good about that at the back end of the bullpen. You need to get some help. Him in a big moment, yes or no?
I would say largely no, for the most part. I think where he's batting in the lineup, who's around him, does play into that quite a bit. But it's been a rough stretch for Jarren Duran, to take tonight out of it. But he's streaky. So, there are flashes there with Duran, but long-term, no, I don't feel like I can rely on Jarren Duran.
That thing's going to bite them in the end. If Duran is your 3-hitter in October, that's a problem. They're not moving Roman Anthony out of the leadoff spot. That thing is working. You're not going to mess with that. It's going to be Anthony, Bregman, 1-2. But I'm going to tell you right now, sneaky thing for this team to find. And on the pitching staff, they need to find a couple of things. They need to find a fourth starter. Whether that's Dustin May pitching better, whether that's Kyle Harrison, whether that's something. They need to find a fourth starter. I suppose you could go bullpen game in the playoffs if you feel you have enough arms. So if you need to find fourth starter or two more arms that you can put out there, be it Peyton Tolley or Sandlin coming up or Kyle Harrison coming up or whatever that thing is, or Buehler developing, figuring out his role in the bullpen, Justin Slayton coming back. So there's some ways that thing can be figured out. They need to find another righty in the bullpen who can pitch, to me, seventh inning type stuff in October as a right-handed pitcher, because I don't quite think they have that. I like Weissert. I don't love Weissert. I would feel a hell of a lot better if Weissert is my sixth inning guy than a seventh inning guy. So those are the two things they need to iron out between now and the playoffs in the starting rotation. I think a lot of fans would disagree with this, but I think they need to iron out who their 3-hitter is for October baseball. Because Duran is so streaky, because his splits, his righty-lefty splits are really something. Duran is the type of guy that I think you can attack. Duran Story 3-4 is not good enough. That is attackable in October. I don't think there's really much you can do about the Story thing. You just have to hope that he's this player all throughout. You know me, I'm not a Trevor Story guy. I hope I end up being wrong in the long term about it. I hope Trevor Story is as impactful in October as he has been dating back to the 1st of June. I hope that continues. I'm not going to count on it continuing, but I hope that continues. Finding a left-handed hitter in this lineup who can slide into the number 3 spot in place of Jarren Duran, so you drop Duran a little farther down the order. Sneaky big thing. And again, probably not the night to say it, right? You're going to say McCarthy, he had a 3-run homer tonight. I get it. I understand it. He had the biggest swing of the night. He's a good baseball player. But in a big spot, October, Anthony and Bregman on first and second. Do you trust Jarren Duran? Yes or no? There's too much swing and miss in his game. He's not your prototypical RBI guy. And I know that's such an old school baseball thing, but I'd watch out for that. So sneaky, Skaz, sneaky, what I'm looking out for. I think Nathaniel Lowe could be your number 3 hitter in October. He's a guy who puts his bat on the ball when he needs to. He has not had a good year. He's been really good since coming to Boston, but he did not have a good year in Washington. But here's a guy who's been a good hitter in the past. He's hit in big games, which is something Duran has not done. There are the platoon splits with him where a concern does come into play, but you could pinch hit Gonzalez for him in the 3 spot against a lefty in a big spot, 7th, 8th inning in a game. You could play that game. Philosophically, I hate the idea of platooning my 3-hitter, but Jarren Duran's a platoon player. Look at his splits. He's a platoon player. Now, they don't necessarily treat him like that, but he is. But they kind of treat him like that because now they're dropping him down to 6th in the lineup against lefties. He doesn't hit lefties. He hasn't hit lefties this year. And there's just, against a righty, against a power righty late in the game, there's too much swing and miss in his game. I feel better about Lowe in that spot. Sneaky, I'm looking for Nathaniel Lowe to be your number 3 hitter in October, which is not a great thing. I'm going to tell you that right now. There are holes in this lineup. In the end, you're not going to be able to fill those holes. They will miss Rafael Devers eventually. I think that's their best approach. I do. I'd be worried about Duran. I like him so much better in this lineup. Now, he lost the leadoff job. I know people think like Anthony won the leadoff job. Duran lost it. They demoted him. And then he started to hit a little bit in the 3-hole because they changed things up, and then he's struggled here as of late. I feel better about Duran as a 5 or a 6 hitter. In some ways, you almost look at it like a second leadoff hitter. If he gets on base, he can wreak some havoc, cause some damage on the base paths with guys like Rafaela hitting behind him, and Rafaela puts his bat on the ball. So, like, if I get Duran on base and Rafaela's there, I actually trust Rafaela to put his bat on the ball and drive the ball to the outfield to move Duran over, compared to Trevor Story, who has a little bit too much swing and miss in his game for my liking, too. Duran as a 3-hitter does not work. Does not work. It worked tonight. I get that. I understand that. That's not one of those things I look at this game and I say that's sustainable. Whitlock, yes. Chapman, yes. Over the weekend, Bayo, yes. Crochet, yes. Anthony, home run again tonight. Guy's a stud. He is an absolute freaking stud. I like him in the leadoff spot. Bregman with a great play in the 9th inning tonight. Just winning ball player. Number 2 hitter, perfect. Perfect number 2 hitter. They got to find a 3-hitter. Somewhere in the lineup, they got to find a better situation than Duran. It's going to hurt them eventually. 617-779-0985. It ain't Masataka Yoshida. I'll put it to you that way. Hey, we'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to.
Roster cut down set for tomorrow at 4. Terry McLaurin signing a contract extension in Washington today, 3 years, $96 million. Bengals and Trey Hendrickson agreeing to a contract raise, $14 million this year. That boosts his salary to $30 million. He'll still be a free agent next year. Ian Rappaport says that Jacoby Myers wants a trade, but the Raiders have no plans to do so. That being said, the Raiders did sign Amari Cooper shortly after that report came out to a 1-year deal. The Browns have traded quarterback Kenny Pickett to the Raiders, and the Kansas City Chiefs today cut quarterback Bailey Zappi. Headlines are brought to you by Super Service Today, Massachusetts' #1 provider for residential and commercial plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning, day or night, and always done right. Visit superservicetoday.com. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update in 30 minutes.
Pat's training camp is coming, and we'll be there to bring you every drill, every scrimmage and preseason game as the Pats get ready for a new season of football. On your home for all things Patriots, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, it's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray tonight. It's time to muse. You know what I realized, Skaz, as a grown boy, an adult, a man, some would say. I'm a man. I'm 34. I want to make money. Do you like money, Skaz? Money good?
Sure.
Real estate. Real estate, my friend. Headline, WCVB, Channel 5. By the way, did you know WCVB, you know what that stands for?
No.
Channel 5, Boston. Little Roman numeral there for you. Do as the Romans
thank you.
do. You know what? You're welcome. Did I make your life better?
And now I have a fun fact.
WCVB, Channel V. You have to be educated to know that. V5, Boston. Headline from them, our friends at Channel 5. Bill Belichick lists oceanfront Nantucket cottage for $3.895 million. Almost a cool $4 million. I'm looking at the pictures. Skaz, this is a charming place. As they write, former New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick is selling a waterfront cottage on the east side of Nantucket. The property is described in the listing as a rare Sconset retreat. Sconset. Fancy people. That was originally built in 1976 and renovated in 2009. The 2-bedroom, 2-bath home spans about 1,500 square feet. On a 0.11 acre oceanfront lot in Codfish Park with direct beach access and conservation land to the north. See, the conservation lands, guys, big deal. Big deal to the people out there. You buy a property, conservation land, you don't have to worry about nothing's going up there. Especially on a place like Nantucket or a vacation destination, you got conservation land, you ain't doing anything. They'll draw and quarter you if you do anything to a land like that. You cut one piece of grass there. That's it. You end up like Mel Gibson and Braveheart. That's what they do to you. Conservation land to the north, that's worth $1 million alone. Nobody's coming near you. How about this? This is why, Skaz, real estate. It's my understanding. Are you learning a little something about this? Real estate?
Attempting to in the process. Trying.
Nantucket property records indicate the cottage was purchased by Belichick in 2014, 11 years ago, for $2.45 million. Man's going to make over $1.5 million on the sale of this thing.
Is he?
You sure?
Are you sure he's in charge of his real estate?
Good point.
I'm just asking the question.
Good point.
I thought Jordan was, doing a lot of real estate.
She is a real estate mogul. So how about this? Nantucket property records indicate the cottage was purchased by Belichick in 2014 for $2.45 million and is held by a limited liability company, an LLC.
Hmm.
Jordan LLC.
Hmm.
She's real estate mogul.
Interesting.
See, she's smart.
Certainly interesting.
She knows what she's doing. Real estate. She's got a $9 million real estate portfolio in Greater Boston. One of those properties, I do believe, is on the Cape. She got her little toesies in this. Toes in the sand and in the LLC.
I mean, I think it's a fair assumption. We're just asking the questions.
Always have to ask the question. Place is charming, though. I'll tell you what. This is worth $4 million. I've been on Zillow. This is worth $4 million. Would you spend $4 million on this place, guys? Take a look at the pictures. It's great.
I'm sure it's wonderful. I have no aspirations to live on an island. That's not for me, especially on, what is it? Is it 0.1 acres of land? What was it?
0.11.
0.1, yeah. I mean, not a guy that demands much. I'm sure it's a lovely piece of property that's easy to get to and is, not heavily trafficked by people that I couldn't stand. But yeah, for me, not so much, I don't think. But for Bill and Jordan, they must be sad to see this place go.
It's an escape. That's what this place is. It's an escape. Yes, it's a tiny lot, but Skaz, you can walk right out to the beach from there. I don't think you're going to be bothered by too many people, although it does appear that somebody's building a McMansion just to the west of this property. So
out on that.
Maybe out on the neighbors, they're saying, we're good with this thing. We don't want any part of this. I would say, though, if you're going to spend $4 million, it does look like this place could eventually be washed away by the ocean. That's another thing. Your beachfront properties, I don't know if beachfront properties are the best type of investment in real estate. Now, I am not a real estate mogul like Jordan. Who is? But for $4 million, you almost say this is a bit of a deal. It's a steal. Because here's the thing, too. Like 0.11 acres. You might say, Jesus, that's nothing. Skaz, no maintenance. Think about what the landscaping costs on a place like Nantucket. You gotta get 1.11 acres landscaped. You're golden. The amount of money you're saving there, it's worth the $4 million just to begin with. This is how you make your money, kids. Real estate, baby. Real estate. $1.5 million in 11 years. What a racket. If you can get in, and that's the big problem, get in. Guys, you're doing the right thing. Get in. Well, you're already in. You're in. Now you're trying to get more in.
Exactly. Yes. Working on it. Aggressively.
You have to be.
Have to be.
It's the way it is.
Have to be.
Well, you got 7% interest rates. You have to be.
Yeah, don't love those, I'll be honest with you.
Well, you can just refinance someday when they come down eventually. Somebody bought in 2021. I'm not going to. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 60-year mortgage. It's kind of where I'm at right now.
You're a young guy.
Yeah, plenty of time.
It's fine. You got to build up equity in that, sweat equity. I'm telling you that once you're in, $1.5 million in 11 years? The water's getting closer. It's not getting farther away. $1.5 million. Damn. Good for these guys. Here's the best thing about this property, too. 1,500 square feet. It's the perfect type of property, especially a vacation property. Not that I own a vacation property yet. Someday. You don't want your place to be too big, right? Especially on a place like Nantucket. Like people are like, oh, I want the 6, 7, 8 bed. No. You need to be able to determine how many people you're going to have come over and visit. It needs to be within a reasonable limit. It is a 2-bedroom property. They also appear in the loft, Skaz. I was getting a little claustrophobic. They have like twin beds up in the loft. It looks like a great place to throw some kids. I would not fit because you've got the slanted ceilings. I don't know if you're seeing these pictures. It's a concern for me. Problem for me.
I wonder if that's why Belichick's getting out of there.
It doesn't fit in the slanted ceilings, Or Jordan's pretty tall, right? She looks pretty tall.
I wish I could help you there.
I would not fit in these beds. It's a problem. But great place to have some kids, come hang out. 2 bedrooms, though, that limits the amount of people who come and visit you. Perfect for a vacation property. That's what you're looking for. I wish them nothing but the best. I hope the new owner gets the dream Nantucket vacation home they've always wanted for a very cool price of $4 million. It's right on the beach. What more could you want? He's not selling the big place out there, though, right?
I believe he has multiple. Yes.
I think he owns half the island at this point. Well, does he own it or does Jordan own it?
That's what we're going to find out.
It's a beautiful thing about house records. Everybody can figure that out. It's all public record, baby. The stone fireplace and everything. Charming. Very, very charming. What do we got? Birthdays today? Joe would do today's birthdays. I'm feeling like it's going to be a good one. Today's famous birthdays include celebrities Blair Underwood and Claudia Schiffer. I don't know who either of those people are. This according to the Associated Press. Gene Simmons turning 76. Elvis Costello turning 70. Tim Burton is 67. I don't get the Tim Burton thing. It's not for me. Billy Ray Cyrus turning 64. Achy, breaky heart. I don't know who Blair Underwood is. Rachel Ray is 57. She could fit in those beds up there, right? Like, she's notoriously short. Is that right?
This is when I wish Joe was here. He would have a Rachel Ray take for you.
Joe, strong takes on Rachel Ray?
I don't want to assume, but she's the cooking lady, right?
You're right.
I would imagine that he would have a take.
Why did I even question that?
Yeah.
Like, why was I even surprised that Joe Murray would have a take on Rachel Ray? She. How do you become a celebrity chef, to be totally honest? Like, that's one thing I don't get, Skaz. Like, I get it. You make food, but how am I supposed to understand how good the food is if I can't taste it? Like, that looks good. Now, I feel like Joe has a sixth sense with that, which is like it really is a special ability. But I would look at something and be like, that looks nice, but I'm not going to jump to the conclusion that it's not burnt, that you didn't screw it up. Joe could look at something and be like, not right. Not right. The Spidey sense. Don't get that thing. Blake Lively turning 38. There you go. How would we characterize those birthdays? Kind of weak, right?
I would say definitely on the weaker side. I was looking to see if you missed any. I don't really...
Dude, Kel Mitchell is 47?
Well, it makes me feel a little old.
Actually, to be totally honest, I would have guessed older. That makes me feel young. Keenan and Kel. Who loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda.
Albert Bell is 59.
Now, that makes me feel old. Because all of those guys are now in their late 50s. The baseball players that I grew up watching. Not the most stable of our baseball players.
But boy, did we enjoy Albert Bell.
Roided out of his mind, must have been, right? What a time.
I think it's a fair assumption.
Most of them were.
There's also Doug Glanville's birthday today.
Okay. Sean Connery. Now, why is this not listed? Other popular or historical birthdays on August 20. Why is Sean Connery not towards the top? It's James Bond, for Christ's sake. Sean Connery. Ivan the Terrible. He must have been. Russian Tsar. Monty Hall, game show host. There you go. It's Murray's Musings. We'll continue. Get back to the Patriots, do some Red Sox stuff, anything you want for the next hour. Also, moment in tennis last night that we have to get to at some point here in the final hour. I know Skaz was watching, was very interested in this. Do that all coming up next.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Did we really?
I would strongly disagree with that, but everyone feels that way that lived through when you're that age and that time period, you're always nostalgic for it. Me personally, I'm a fan of technology and my life being easier, but yeah, if you want to go back to the 80s, have at it.
That is the decade where I feel like there's the most passionate defense from those who lived through it. I don't know, there's just something about those years because they were so cheesy. I don't know how else quite to describe it as somebody who didn't live through them, but like if I were to look at let's say the decades, right? Going back, let's keep this post-World War II. Like the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Well, the 70s were pretty cheesy too. But like, I don't think anybody from the 70s looks at the 70s and is proud of it type of thing. Like, have you ever heard of that thing? Like, oh yeah, like that style, that fashion. No person from the 70s is like, man, the 70s were awesome. But every person from the 80s is like, dude, the 80s were the greatest. I wish life could be like it was in 1984. Like, there's something about that era that the people who lived through it just felt like it was the greatest thing of all time. And I look back on it and I say, no. Do the movies hold up? No. Does the music hold up? Way too much synth? No. Hair metal? No. If you're like, oh yeah, Motley Crue and Kiss, man. No. Yeah. Decade doesn't hold up. The 60s hold up. Now, I say this, I'm such an old person. But the 60s were chaos and but culturally, I don't know, it was just so different. Like, the 60s were the 60s. I'm not saying that was a good thing. But I feel like people from the 60s would also be the first to be like, man, that was pretty tumultuous. And I was high throughout the whole thing, so I have no idea I don't know what was going on. But that's what the 60s have. The 70s, nobody said were good, if you lived through it. The 80s, everybody says was good, and I just think you're overrating it. That's all. That's just a 90s person saying the 80s sucked. I don't know.
I'd like to have, the respective wages to, what things cost that they had. I would be in favor of that. But other than that, no thanks.
Well, and why? And when did things start to get out of control? The late 80s. Way to go, 80s. Thanks a lot. Well, you guys really screwed that up, didn't you? But no, I'm glad we had. And listen, I like Back to the Future, but I'm glad, we can look back on that and say.
I'm a big fan of this thing called high definition. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I enjoy watching my sports where I can see what's going on. Hockey before high def, God bless you, but not for me.
Tape delay,
tough to watch there.
Miracle on Ice, great moment. Wasn't live.
I like live sporting events.
NBA Finals games, tape delay. Yeah, on demand.
Big fan of, recreational marijuana. I think of the things my dad probably had to do in high school to get a bag. I can go to the store and they hand it to you and say, thank you for coming in. What a time. What a crazy time to be alive. But yes, keep telling me how great it used to be.
Well, right. No, in the 60s, there was a lot of push for that. The 60s and then in the 80s, you 80s people were like, no, not cool. Can't do that. We must be conservative about everything. And just be totally not fun. That's your generation. That's your decade. But no, so much to be proud about. Way to go. But tremendous.
Everybody loves nostalgia. It's one of our most prominent drugs, especially in advertising. Everybody's a sucker for it. Everything gets remade. Everything's, look at this. You used to love this when you were a kid.
Sure.
Love it again, please.
And hey, remember when is the lowest form of conversation, according to Tony Soprano. But I will happily engage in it. You want to talk about old-time baseball? You want to talk about 90s baseball? I'll remember when with you all day. I'll do 4 hours on it. Well, dude, I'll do 90s baseball for the next 35 minutes if you want at 617-779-0985. So I'm not saying I'm any better than you, but at least I acknowledge that, maybe it wasn't as great as I want to say. I'm a 90s kid. I like the 90s, but am I going to pretend like the 90s were that great? No. At least I have the awareness. All right, when it comes to generational stuff, though, I will say this. You hear this a lot, say on, I don't know, a program that's on the air here 2 to 6. The robots, the virtual measurement. Skaz, what have you made of virtual measurement?
Not a fan. It's not quick. It doesn't feel very accurate when you're watching it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's been a disaster to start.
Yes. And if you want to listen to some people around here, we're going to blame the children for that. Oh, you need the robot to do everything. It's your fault. Kids are making the world worse, which is generally a take you hear quite often on these airwaves. Here's what I'd say about that. It's not the kids' fault. You created the world the children live in. The children are the result of you and your work. So if you have a problem with the robots that the kids are now addicted to, who made the robots?
Also, the same,
you did.
The same people that are upset everyone gets a participation trophy when the children were never asking for participation trophies. It was the adults who decided on that.
You handed them the trophy, you jackass. Oh,
very weird.
Millennials get participation trophies. Yeah, handed to us by baby boomers. By baby boomers who were the children of the greatest generation, who never could live up to anything, to the standards that their parents set. So from that childhood trauma, they started giving out participation trophies to their children because your parents never loved you, because your parents saved the world from Nazism and fascism and everything and all that, went overseas to save the world, came back, had you could never live up to it, so you got high in the 60s, you just got into drugs, and then you gave your kids participation trophies. Whose fault is that? You. Because your parents didn't love you. And whose fault was that? Them. It was their fault, not your fault. It's not your fault your parents didn't love you. It's not your fault you weren't presented with the crisis of all crises, the biggest crisis in the history of the world, literally the fate of the world being determined by your parents. I get it. It was a hard thing to live up to, and nobody could have ever expected you to live up to that thing, and that's okay. It wasn't your fault. The same way that the participation trophies aren't our fault, the same way that the addiction to technology and the robots is not the children's fault. It's your fault, Gen X, because you made the robots. You made the iPhone. You made the smartphone. So this is the world that you have created, and now you blame the younger generation. It is a story as old as time. Old people not being able to take accountability for the ways they effed up the world. There's a life lesson for you. So the virtual measurement, it's not Gen Z, it's you, Gen X. It's your fault. Take accountability. Say you're sorry at 617-779-0985. When was Gen X? When is Gen X? Gen X from 1965 to 1980. You. If you were born between 1965 and 1980, call in and apologize. 617-779-0985. This iPhone in my hand, this thing that ruins my life, your life, and everybody else's life, your fault.
Big fan of it, though. Big fan.
I could do without it. I was born in the wrong generation. I'm a millennial, but I could.
You're a 75-year-old man.
No, I'm not the greatest generation. I'm the lost generation. Right after that. Don't send me off to war. No, not going to do that. I'm kind of that generation in between. Old guy, but really didn't do anything. That's me. I belong there. I hate this device. This thing is the worst. The worst. Just distracts me. Gives me ADHD. I don't like it. Bad. Not good for my health. Send me back, Skaz. If I had a DeLorean, I'd go back and I wouldn't come here. I'd stay there. Like Doc in 1895 or 1885. That's where I'd stay. Meet some hot teacher and there you go. Then go to the moon. 617-779-0985. She had herself quite a run there in the 80s. Back to the Future 3, Parenthood, criminally underrated Steve Martin film. She was the mom in Elf, wasn't she? Mary Steenburgen, right?
Mrs. Danson, yes, I believe.
Yes.
Step Brothers.
Quite a run.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Never seen that. You know why? Because it's an 80s movie.
93.
Oh, really? Okay, well, again, let's not pretend like the 90s were that great either. Maybe it's great. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Let's get an update here. We'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray. We do need to get to, if you thought I was upset about that. Somebody got very upset last night, Skaz. We'll do that next.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Somebody says Star Wars 80s. Star Wars was really a 70s thing, right? I mean, it came out in 77, 1980, which is basically the 70s. And yeah, I mean, Return of the Jedi, but look at what they did to it in the 2000s.
We call them the Joe Murray Pre-Party. It's Felger and Maz afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Skaz, the chat says I'm inquisitive, like Joe Murray. I think Joe's a very inquisitive guy. No Joe tonight. We have Joe tomorrow. Is that right? Joe tomorrow. Joe Wednesday. No Joe Thursday.
I believe that is correct.
I don't think there would be a Joe Thursday because you get the Joe and McCarthy show Friday morning.
That is correct.
6 to 10. Let's not make him do that turnaround. That would be not fair. Shouldn't do that. Very much looking forward to that. In or out at 7 a.m. instead of 9 p.m. That's a way to start the day. You have no idea what the hell is going to come your way.
I've heard Adam 12 a big fan of In or Out. That's what Joe tells me, which
yes.
I like to hear.
How could you not be a big fan of In or Out? How could you not be a big fan of Joe? Most likable guy at the station. Bar none.
I would agree with that.
We might have a likability problem. At times.
I would also agree with that.
Yeah, what do we think Carlton Davis thinks of Mark Dondero? Can I get that again, if you wouldn't mind, Skaz? Mark Dondero, our very own Mark Dondero, went down to Patriots camp today and started asking people very weird questions, which he has a history of doing. What did he have to say to Carlton Davis?
Have you ever come across, I don't want this to sound insensitive, but have you ever come across a teammate that you were kind of happy they got cut?
This guy's good. Oh man. Whoa. No, I mean, there has been a guy like years ago who was just kind of like a little throwed off, and I guess I don't know if people felt safe around him. So that was like years ago, but not recently. But I have ran into guys who, I don't know, man. Like I know you play football and that, you can be a little bit thrown off, but he was just completely off the rockers. But that'll be it. That'll be about it.
Dondero goes down there and asks him, so, a coworker you really hate, you weren't happy to see go at all, or you were very happy to see go? I have to respect it.
I'm going to have to go look at some of those old Bucks rosters and try and figure out exactly who he was talking about. Which unstable individual was Carlton Davis fearful of?
We have any unstable individuals here at the Sports Hub? So, it's Gaz. Has anybody ever left here that you were happy to see go?
I would say no, in large part. No, I'm pretty affable guy. I don't really ruffle too many feathers here, for the most part.
If you're saying you're happy if somebody goes, that's a real sign. Like,
yes.
Oh, that guy must be a real clown.
Yeah. I've had no issues at the Sports Hub, knock on wood. At least to my knowledge, that I am aware of.
Well, again, as we determined earlier, awareness, sometimes having a complete lack of awareness just lets you go into situations and you're not going to be fazed by it. You'll say a crazy thing. Ask somebody a crazy thing. It's a good way to go through life, I'm not going to lie. Just being completely unaware of any situation around you. That's bliss, man. Wish I had that thing. You think, is it Dmitry Medvedev?
Daniil
Medvedev. Won the U.S. Open last year, right?
I believe that is correct.
Think he's aware? Think he's a self-aware guy?
The scary part is I think he is kind of aware. I think he's a man that likes to be the show.
He was the show last night. You were watching this. I only saw this. I saw this as it started to develop before I was going to bed. So, Skaz, can you explain to people? You're a tennis guy.
I have a sickness where if there is a live sport on TV, I will consume it. I can't help myself. It doesn't matter what it is. So yes, Sunday night, last night, past midnight, but this happened probably, 11:30ish maybe in that, maybe even a little earlier. But yes, Daniil Medvedev was playing, I believe it's Benjamin Bonzi, a great name, in the first round.
That is, you know what? That is a great name.
Yeah.
Benjamin Bonzi.
The Frenchman Bonzi.
Bonzi.
And Medvedev, a big favorite in this match, a man who you said has won the U.S. Open, and things were going not well for Medvedev. He was down 2 sets, and the audio is a little choppy because of the crowd, but I'll give you a taste, and then I'll try to explain what happened.
First serve. Ladies and gentlemen, because of the delay caused by an offside interference, first serve has been granted.
You want to go home. He wants to go home, guys. He doesn't like to be here. He gets paid by the match, not by the hour. Yeah? What did Riley Opelka say? What did Riley Opelka say? What did Riley...
Let's play.
What did who say?
Riley Opelka, who Carlos Alcaraz is actually playing right now. So that's really in the weeds. Riley Opelka called this gentleman, who was the chair umpire last night, the worst umpire in the history of tennis, I believe, a year or two ago. And he was fined $40,000 for that, I believe. But so what happened was Medvedev was playing Bonzi. Medvedev down 2 sets, and a cameraman in the match just kind of gets up and leaves. He says, it's getting late. I don't want to be here anymore. If you
it's
watch,
down to match point.
Yeah, it is match point. It is Bonzi is serving to win the match, and this older gentleman cameraman says, "I've had enough."
Honestly, totally respect the move. This dude is trying to beat the traffic.
Yes, he certainly was, and he did. But so he tries to leave, and the umpire stops it. And Bonzi had faulted on his first serve. He was going to serve his second, and because of the delay, the umpire re-awarded him the first serve. At least that was my understanding. Medvedev freaked out, lost his mind, Tuukka Rask and Providence style. He went nuts. He started inciting the crowd before he even approached the umpire. He was waving his hands, getting everybody fired up. And then this goes on for 6.5 minutes, which doesn't sound like too long of a time, but a 6.5 minute stoppage at match point is forever.
An eternity.
Forever. And then Medvedev goes on to break Bonzi. He then goes on to win the next 2 sets. He wins the 4th set 6-0, decimates Bonzi. Bonzi starts grabbing his leg. You think he's hurt. You're like, okay, this guy's about to quit. Somehow, some way, great 5th set. It's now 12:30 in the morning, whatever it is. Bonzi ends up winning the match. Normally what happens in tennis is when someone wins the match, the winner does the little, walk-off interview with, whoever it is. They, how was that match? Mm-hmm. Usually because tennis is a quote-unquote gentleman's game.
Sure. A lot of honor,
yes, a lot of honor there.
Shake hands at the net after. Yes, there is that.
They did shake hands, and Medvedev did apologize to Bonzi when they embraced. He said, sorry for the freak-out, basically. But then Medvedev goes... I should say he doesn't go. Normally, the loser packs up. They might sign a few balls, wave. You give the Princess Diana wave there, and you walk out. Medvedev does not do that. He decides to take out every single racket he owns, which is like 6 or 7 rackets he has in his bag, and he proceeds to launch them into the crowd one by one. And then he sits down and just sits on the bench. And minutes go by where the announcers, the other McEnroe there, and whoever it is doing the match are like, well, this is kind of weird. They're just waiting to do the interview because Medvedev isn't leaving.
Right. So it's almost a respect thing to the losing player. It's like, let the losing player get off the court so they don't have to watch the winning player get interviewed type of thing. Yeah, I mean, now that I think about it, I've never really paid attention to it, but that is typically the way it works in tennis. You see the losing player, they wave, they go to the crowd, sign a couple balls, that's it, they're gone. And then they cut pretty much right away to the winner at the U.S. Open, which is, this is like... It's pretty traditional for the U.S. Open. This thing is how it works.
Especially at 12:40. Like, there is no curfew because it's New York, but still, it's late. Let's go. And then the cameras keep trying to cut to Bonzi, but all of a sudden, you start hearing this.
It's carnage out there. Ugly scenes. He needs to be careful here.
For the first time in his career, he loses in the first round of a major in 3 consecutive majors. Of course, Bonzi got him at Wimbledon.
So that is not like raucous clapping or people stomping to get a cheer going. That is Medvedev smashing his last racket, the one he has left, repeatedly smashing it over and over and over again on the metal bench. He decimated this racket. It's in pieces by the end. But he's just sitting there sulking, destroying his racket. And then finally, they're like, okay, enough's enough. They go to Bonzi. They try to interview the poor guy who just won probably the biggest match of his life against defending U.S. Open champ, first round, night match, all that. And as they're trying to do the interview, you just in the background can hear the continual just... And then finally, Medvedev does get up and leave, and the crowd goes like kind of nuts, kind of boos him, all while Bonzi's trying to give his post-match interview. So yes, the sicko that I am, I was treated to some great tennis last night and some even better, unbelievable theater. So if you're a night owl like us here at night, 11 o'clock, 11:30 show's over. Maybe turn over to the U.S. Open. You never know what you're going to see.
Prime time at the U.S. Open is great. Seriously, it is a sporting event I've not done in person. I would love to do in person. Who made that racket? That's what I want to know. Because that thing, it took a beating.
It certainly
was
did.
Decimated by the end, but that thing held on way longer than it should, based on the force, the repeated force in that. Who typically produces tennis?
It's like
rackets?
Wilson, right?
Wilson,
or something like that, or Prince or something.
There's an advertisement for you.
Yeah.
Look how long this thing stays intact. You can never destroy this thing.
Tennis is a sport too where you need a couple lunatics. It's good. It's good. You're paying for the show. Medvedev is the show. He's had numerous outbursts in the past, screaming at ball boys, fighting with umps. So a good one last night. I didn't expect to get that, but I was thoroughly enjoyed that last night.
Does tennis sneaky have some of the biggest lunatics? Is sneaky one of the most intense sports on planet Earth? Because I don't know if I love tennis, I do, but I don't know if your average sports fan who is into more of the four majors, they'd say hockey's more intense and football's more intense, and those sports are intense in their different way. The intensity of a tennis match, it's top notch, man.
I think there's something about being on that island where when you're part of a team or you're, in a game where it's teams competing, you can kind of the mental, breakdown doesn't happen so much because other people are relying on you. But when a tennis player starts to crack, it's just them. They don't have, it's like a golfer getting the yips or you see golfers, your John Rahms, your Sergios, where they'll have some heated moments on the course, take out a sprinkler, take a divot out of a green, something like that. But when the tennis guys go, your Connors, your McEnroes, they go. And Medvedev is right up there with the best of them.
What a lunatic. That was an awesome scene last night. And by the way, the U.S. Open too, the crowds at the U.S. Open are awesome. It would be different. That scene would not have played out that way at Wimbledon. Because...
Shame.
Yeah. Oh, they would have shamed you, for sure. But Medvedev working up the crowd is part of the whole thing. Him yelling at, "Are you a man? Are you a man?"
Thank you. I didn't even bring up that. So the audio is so, muted because the crowd gets so raucous. But Medvedev is screaming in an older gentleman's face, the chair umpire, "Are you a man? Are you a man? Why are you shaking when I'm yelling at you if you're a man?" Just in this guy's grill screaming at him. So yes, a true lunatic, Daniil Medvedev. And I mean that endearingly.
Almost endearing.
Oh, almost. He's good for content.
So think about it too. In baseball, I feel like the freakout has been eliminated for the most part because of replay. These freakouts happen in tennis more than they do in baseball, more than they do in most sports at this point. And tennis, of all the sports, guys, tennis has the best replay system. There are actually very few things at this point you get wrong in tennis, right? Because of the replay system, and it's so fast. And what an awesome, it is the gold standard of sports replays, tennis. But there's something still about it. Even despite that, we still have arguments with chair umpires. How many freakouts did Serena have with chair umpires? Medvedev last night. In a sport where we have basically a perfect replay system. Love that hasn't been removed. We'll continue. It's McCarthy in for Joe.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. Everybody knows Joe.
Just keeps getting better.
Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
All right, Joe's going to be back tomorrow night. And if you're sick of me, thank God we have a reprieve for the final 2 minutes of this program.
Well, thank God Joe's coming back tomorrow night, so I don't have to be sitting here with you.
Director of Engineering,
DOE, baby.
Dennis Knudsen. He's so important, he's a director. Now, I want to call him a chief, but he gets offended when I call him a chief because apparently a director is above a chief.
Not offended, It's, you're in the title,
Yeah. So you're greater than a chief.
Greater than a chief.
He's a director. This man,
Yes.
the man you are hearing from is a director. He's a director of engineering. Dennis, I've seen you running around here all night long. You have 60 seconds to explain to me and to captivate the people with what technically you are doing behind the scenes here at 98.5 The Sports Hub tonight.
I'm going to give you the short of it, okay? Here's the deal.
So entertained.
Came in late. Mm-hmm. Going to work until the early morning, and then I'm going home to go to bed so that we can keep sports hubbing.
You're doing something very important
it's network
overnight.
Stuff nobody wants.
No.
to hear.
I want to give me the 15-second synopsis. What is
We're
this?
upgrading
What
firmware on network switches, and in order to do that, we got to take the entire network down.
What is a network?
The computer network.
What is firmware?
Yeah. Oh, look at that! Saved by the bell. Thanks, Gaz.
Dennis, I hope
software that runs the network switches.